Yo, what is up, my gamers in Christ? How are we doing today? How is it on this lovely day of January 1st, 2026? I bet you guys thought I wouldn't be streaming today. I bet you thought PGDE, he doesn't have that dog in him. But I assure you, I do, ladies and gentlemen. And I may have messed up the time I worked today, so I got off a little early. So that means you guys get to see some amazing content. And we've got quite a show for you. Obviously, we've got the PBS NewsHour, but we also have Zoran's speech that I kind of wanted to watch. And then we will also be watching some Benny Johnson today, so get excited about that. Now, the Conduit video, we will be watching the next day I'm off, which should be Saturday. So we'll be watching Conduit's video on Saturday, and hopefully we'll be able to get him in here and ask some questions about that video. You know, ask him what his experience was like living through a week of the demon known as Asmon. He really is a demon. I was watching IRI just now before I started streaming, and he was saying some absolutely just horrendous bullshit, dude. Just some really disgusting stuff. I was shocked. I really was. I was shocked. Anyways, let me at everyone. Surprise late night stream for late night stream. Yeah, we'll just do a late night stream. Post our link there, man. We'll just post that link there. Link and upload this. You guys know that famous clip of Mark Zuckerberg going, link and upload this. Mark Zuckerberg, one of our techno lords, that I'm sure we'll have to pray to someday, unfortunately, but not yet. We're luckily free and not forced to praise Mark Zuckerberg yet. However, we may be getting to that point. Unfortunately. Anyways, how are you guys doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do a show every day, typically from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Where I talk about news, politics. I'm a liberal scumbag trying to make it out here in this MAGA world. We're changing minds, though. We're changing minds out here. Today, also, I would like to, if anybody wants to join and debate me, I'll be linking the Discord in the chat, and just ping me if you're in the Discord to debate me. So yeah, we got we got a lot to do here today. But I don't imagine too many of MAGA really feeling like they can compete. I mean, what's their most recent outrage is the Somalian fraud, right? I've heard Asmon say some absolutely horrible things about the people of the Somali Americans we have in our ranks. But their key evidence is some weird 23-year-old who looks like he's going into 34 talking about how, or trying to look at people's children. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. He's traveling around asking people to see their children, like, hey dude, my name's Nick Shirley, and I'm here with my friend Dave. This is Dave. Say hi, Dave. Hi. Yeah, this is my friend Dave, and we're here to look at your children. I'm actually trying to enroll my son Joey, but first I want to look at your children. Can I see your children? Oh, what's up? You're not going to show me them? Why not? Are you committing fraud? Are you committing fraud because you won't let me look at your children? What the hell, man? You're committing fraud, aren't you? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It is absolutely just one of the most embarrassing videos the right wing has hailed as something to be proud of that I've seen in a while. But they do continue to astonish each day. With that being said, however, I think we are going to probably get into the video. And if you also, if you guys have something you want me to see, something you want me to watch, feel free to paste it in the chat, or you can go to my Discord. Hey, what's up? My throat. Okay, I am not good at. I can't read foreign names. I'm gonna be honest, but SM. You mind if I call you SM? Hopefully not. Good to see you, homie. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you are. By the way, guys, remember to like and subscribe. It's very important. Really helps out the channel. How am I? I'm doing good. I can't complain. I got off of work early. I'm pretty happy about that. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to stream for you guys today, but luckily I am. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you. I think we're gonna probably get started here though in about 3 minutes. About 3 minutes, I'd give it. Oh, Benny Johnson is really cashing in on this Somali fraud case. It's very embarrassing because this is gonna really backfire on the people doing this, because these are American citizens. These are American citizens that are here to live a better life and make a better life. They've went through the naturalization process, and yet they want to treat the right wants to treat these people as if they're foreigners, and it's really disgusting. I am in South Africa. Well, thank you for joining my stream. I appreciate it. We love everybody out here. We do. Anyways, we're gonna get started on the videos though. Pause that right there. And guess the time? I'd say it's probably, I don't know. Let me see what time it is here. I think it's like 7. So I'm gonna say like 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. That's my guess. We're locking it in, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm gonna take my. I was wearing a beanie, but that shit was getting way too hot. Way too hot. What's up, everybody? Thank you for reacting to the stream, by the way. Hey, I was right. That's crazy. Thank you for reacting to the stream. That gets me out there and gets me out there in the algorithm. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. You may hear me say that a lot just because the view time on this isn't super great. So we gotta really advocate for ourselves out here. But if you guys enjoy politics and news from a liberal perspective, make sure to like and subscribe, because that does help out the channel. I wanna hit 200 subs this month. That would be a great birthday present, because I am a January baby. January 20th, ladies and gentlemen. That's my birthday. I will most definitely be streaming. Because I don't have too many friends in real life. I'm joking, but of course I'll be streaming. We stream every day out here. Anyways, let's get into PBS NewsHour. I'll probably put it at 1.5 just because I want to get to the Zorhan speech, and it looks like it already is. So, without further ado, PBS NewsHour. Don't give up on your dreams if you want to be the best streamer in history. Well, I don't know about best streamer in history, but I do want to provide some content for people interested in politics that uh, yeah, I want to provide that type of content because I noticed a bit of a gap for like normal dude liberal politics. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's what's really missing in a lot of these spaces. So I want to bring a voice to that, just a pragmatic dude who is looking to work on with both sides to get things done. But I won't lie, I am very liberal leaning and I am a registered Democrat, proud of it as well. So, anyways, sorry, I have a propensity to get pretty distracted, so sometimes chat has to drag me back to the original topic, which is our publicly broadcasted news. Let's take a watch. Let's take a listen and watch.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Desjardins. Jeff Bennett.
Oh, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Stacy alert.
And Navaz are away. On the NewsHour tonight, dozens are killed in what Swiss leaders call one of the worst tragedies.
Oh, geez, I had not heard about this actually.
As wealth becomes more concentrated among the richest Americans, how a new class of billionaires are seeking outsized political influence.
February, I will hit 300 subscribers. Well, hey, here's to hoping. Here's to hoping. I appreciate that though. I really do. That means a lot to me. I hope I do. I hope I do. But hey, as a small content creator, you know, you gotta fight for every sub, you know, you gotta, and I do value everybody that like subscribes to me because we have such a small community. It's every sub means something, so it means a lot to me. Thank you so much, SM.
And college football teams are about to enter another wild phase. Why even those who aren't sports fans should pay attention.
I don't think it's ideal for anybody, including the players and their education, to be able to transfer to 4 or 5 different schools over the course of their career.
That's interesting.
Major funding for the PBS NewsHour has been provided by...
I like using I like hearing this beginning speed up. Hey, SBC, good to see you. Happy New Year, TGDE. First thing in the NewsHour is death. It's like Kalinda's Christmas Holocaust stream, right? I know. I actually hadn't heard about. I wasn't on the news too much, but this New Year fire, that's tragic. Doesn't this just make you love America? Come on now. Trains. We need trains.
160 years.
Don't forget, we need trains. BNSF Railway wants you to remember, we need trains.
Nexus.
Friends of the NewsHour,
I'm
including
kind?
Robert S.
Thank
Kaplan
you so
and
much.
Wendy J.
That means
Selden
a
for
lot
the
to me.
Raymond
You're
James
very
Charitable
kind too,
Endowment
by
Fund.
the way.
Carnegie Corporation of New York, working to reduce political polarization through philanthropic support for education, democracy, and peace. More information at carnegie.org. And with the ongoing support of these individuals and
Carnegie's got their work cut out for them.
institutions.
Carnegie's got their work cut out for them, guys. The political divide just seems so... It really is shocking to me how quick the right has taken to hating the people of Somalia. It's very disgusting, honestly, and just sad. These are American citizens. 95% of them are American citizens. So they're saying that about about us, you know. There's no difference between them and me, or them and for example, Asmongold. There's no difference. Anyways, my aunt lives in America. She is a doctor. Oh, well, that's great. I'm glad to have her here. And you'll be coming in June? Well, hey, welcome to the club. We're glad to have you here, dog. We love, I love immigration. Like, I think it's a vital part of our society, to be honest. Especially as people age and, you know, the more wealthy and older population just decides that decides that, sorry, I got distracted by a notification. As the older and more, I guess, wealthy and educated generations decide that they don't really want to have kids. We need immigration. We need those people who are constantly pushing the line, you know, constantly advocating for a better America, and maybe not be too comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, as you gain wealth in America and as you gain influence, you start to get more comfortable, and I feel like somebody needs to be pushing the line. Is there a chocolate factory in America? I think there's several, actually. I think there's several. Like, you got Hershey's, obviously, you know, Hershey's.
This program was
There's
made
a
possible by the
couple others.
contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the News Hour. Some 40 people are dead and more than 100 injured, many seriously, after a
Jesus.
fire tore through a bar in the Swiss mountain town of Crans, Montana on New Year's,
Jesus, that is horrible.
just hours after midnight. Authorities have ruled out a terror attack, but the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Yeah, how does that how does that happen? I mean, I know, obviously.
As the Swiss
but-
face a devastating scene. This was the scene outside La
Oh my
Constellation, where Swiss
goodness.
authorities say a massive blaze broke out in a packed and popular ski resort bar just after 1:30 a.m. on New Year's Day.
There were people screaming, and then people lying on the ground, probably dead.
Many had gathered there to ring in the new year when the celebration turned suddenly to chaos.
I'm still in shock. I can't comprehend what happened. I saw people being resuscitated. I saw people completely burned. I saw people dying.
Today, as investigators combed through the rubble, officials said it will take days to identify all of the victims and that it is still too early to determine the cause of the fire. But officials say flames likely triggered a sudden backdraft
Rest in peace
explosion.
to them.
Eyewitnesses
That is
described a
so
rush of people trying to
heartbreaking.
escape a basement bar through a narrow bottleneck at the top of
Are
the
they killing
staircase.
people? Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't anybody in particular. They said earlier that they had ruled out terrorism, but they are unsure of how it started. So it could have been electrical. It could have been due to a whole number of things. It could have even been something as simple as somebody didn't put out their cigarette butt. So unfortunately, these types of things happen, you know, and it's sad and devastating, and the victims just deserve as much support as we can give them reasonably, you know.
They're pretty easy to get through since they're wide and all that. But after that, there's a small door where everyone was pushing, and so we all fell. We were piled on top of each other. Some people were burning, and some were dead next to us.
In the early morning hours, casualties quickly filled local hospitals, and some of the injured had to be flown by helicopter or jet to other cities, where doctors raced to stabilize the burn victims. Those who were there described a desperate scene.
I saw people pushing each other, falling down the stairs in a frenzy to escape. Some were being trampled, and I know that some couldn't get out and unfortunately died inside.
Only adding to the sense of tragedy, most of the victims were young people. Swiss President Guy Parmelin called it one of the worst disasters in his country's history.
The events that took place in this public establishment last night constitute a disaster of unprecedented and horrifying scale. Behind these numbers are faces, names, families, destinies brutally cut short or forever shattered.
This morning, as a procession of vans made their way toward the scene of the blaze to transport bodies, the small town was still in shock. Residents and first responders alike are struggling with hard questions and simple disbelief.
Yeah, that one
Also-
is sad to hear, and I I hope the victims' families are doing okay. You know, what else can you really say about that?
Today, New York City swore in its new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, in his first
Now this, hey, we'll be getting to this. So they're just covering it in the news wrap, so it's not a bigger story, but we'll be getting to this. Don't worry. He's got a really fiery, acceptance speech that he's got.
address, he pledged to govern, quote, expansively and audaciously.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders administered the oath of office at a ceremony outside City Hall. The independent senator from Vermont, a self-described democratic socialist, is one of Mamdani's political heroes. The new mayor is the first Muslim to hold the office and at 34 is the youngest in generations. Mamdani ran on a platform of affordability, pledging free childcare and buses for New Yorkers. He has become a lightning rod for conservative critics, though he vowed to stick to his beliefs.
You know, I find that so funny that he's become like this lightning rod, right? Please give me a second. I want to tell my friends to watch this stream. Oh, thank you so much. Of course. Of course. Take as much time as you need, dog. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
I was elected.
But I guess I can continue talking about this for a minute. I find it ironic that the right has conglomerated around Zoran being this crazy evil person when he didn't, number one, what he's advocating isn't that crazy. But number two, Donald Trump sat down with Zoran. Hey, welcome back. But Donald Trump sat down with Zoran Mamdani and was like, "Oh, everything's gonna be fine. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'd live in New York City if Zoran was mayor." It's like, how can you guys say that when your dude is chilling with him? It's very ironic, and I knew something like this would happen. I had a feeling that Zoran wasn't quite done. The right wing wasn't quite done talking about Zoran. And it's just funny because Trump kind of completely destroyed their argument for why Zoran's bad. And he literally said, "I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's going to be fine."
Elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical, because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers.
Today's celebrations came after Mamdani
Now,
was...
I am excited to get into this because I heard a little criticism from our side about this speech, and I haven't watched it yet, so... But I like Zoran. Maybe I don't agree on all of his policy positions, but at the end of the day, he is pushing the envelope in a lot of ways, and I like to see people with new ideas in the Democratic Party, and I think we need to, the worst case scenario of a lot of these programs is just reverting back to the old system. So if it doesn't work, that's great. We tried it out and we found out it doesn't work. But if it does work, think about the benefits of free transport in a city like New York. And if it works out super well, it could even be applied to cities like mine. I live in a small town city in Kansas, and I think a lot of people would benefit from a much more public transit and much more frequent times of buses. There's a lot of things that Mamdani here is advocating for that could really change the face of how we do politics and how we address issues.
Just after midnight last night in a private ceremony at a...
And if they don't, hey, we found out they don't work and we got to go back to the drawing board. But when we go back to the drawing board, it's not like we don't already in the Democratic Party have ideas to tackle a lot of these things. So
decommissioned subway stations near City Hall.
I'm not nearly as doom
In
and
Iran,
gloom
growing
about
protests over the
Mamdani.
economy have now turned fatal, with at least 6 people reportedly killed.
Oh,
Images from inside Iran
geez.
have been hard to come by, but eyewitness videos this week show
Bye,
scenes
my
like
mom
this
is
one.
asking for her phone. Well, I hope you have a great day, and enjoy your time. Thank you for liking and subbing. It means a lot to me. And thanks for stopping by. We're excited to have you here in America. We love it here. We love having new people here, and I hope you love it here.
Of protesters trying to force their way into a government building in the southern Fars province. The protests come as the country's inflation rate
Are you going to
has
stream
spiked.
tomorrow? Yes, I'll be live at 10 a.m. CDT. I'm not sure what time that would be in South Africa, but I will be live at 10 a.m. CDT. Or no, I'll be live at this time tomorrow, actually. But typically I'm live at 10 a.m. CDT. But yeah, I'll be live at this time tomorrow, actually, because I have a weird scheduling thing at work. So, yeah.
Driving merchants to the streets in Tehran
I'm
and other
watching
cities.
it. Well,
They're the
heck
biggest
yeah.
since
I look
2022
forward to
when the death of
seeing you
23-year-old
there,
Mahsa
dog.
Amini while
Have a
in police
great
custody
day.
triggered nationwide demonstrations. Russian officials say a Ukrainian drone strike killed 24 people and wounded at least 50 others in a Russian-controlled
Hold on,
part
I
of
did want to kind of go back
scenes,
about those
6 people,
Iran
City Hall.
protests.
In Iran, growing protests over the economy have now turned fatal, with at least 6 people reportedly
Thank you
killed.
guys so much
Images
for
from inside Iran
reacting
have
to
been
the
hard to come
stream.
by, but
It
eyewitness videos this week show scenes like this one of
gets me
protesters
out
trying to
there
force
in
their
the
way into a
algorithm
government
and gets
building in
people
the southern
watching,
Fars
which I
province.
really
The protests
appreciate.
come as the country's inflation rate has spiked, driving merchants to the streets in Tehran and other cities. They're the biggest since 2022, when the death of 22-year-old Masa Amini, while in police custody, triggered nationwide demonstrations. Russian officials say a Ukrainian drone strike killed 24.
Now, this is interesting because people are being killed in protests, which would typically only further galvanizes protests. The regime in Iran is unpopular. The people are not fans of the Iranian regime, and you see why, because they just repress social freedoms and they clamp down on freedom of speech. And so I'm interested to see what kind of happens with these protests. If you guys don't know, and she didn't really cover it too much there, the reason that a lot of these shopkeepers and people are protesting is because the GDP, or not the GDP, the value of the, I don't know what the dollar is called in Tehran, but it's essentially what's happening is perfect. You said it perfectly, SBC. Hyperinflation, a complete mismanagement of the economy is from what I'm hearing. And so people are upset. And just like, we saw here, people get upset when their savings account don't mean anything anymore. And that thing that they were building up no longer matters. I would not be surprised. Inflation has been the death of a lot of regimes, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe not a regime change, but something come from this. These are huge.
People and wounded at least 50 others in a Russian-controlled part of Ukraine's Kherson region. Moscow claims that 3 drones hit a cafe.
Okay, it's the Iranian rial. Got you. Thank you, by the way, SBC. I appreciate that.
Hotel in the town of Horly on the Black Sea coast. Ukrainian officials insist they only target military sites. The attack comes amid a ratcheting up of violence between the two sides, even as diplomats try to move forward on peace talks. Millions of Americans are facing higher healthcare costs today after enhanced tax credits connected to the Affordable Care Act expired overnight. A battle over the subsidies led to a 43-day government shutdown this past fall. A House vote is expected later this month, but its outcome is uncertain. Separately today, new restrictions on so-called SNAP benefits are taking effect in 5 states.
So stupid, dude. So stupid.
Including Indiana, Iowa, and others. They limit beneficiaries from buying soda, candy, and...
I think people should be allowed to buy soda and candy on their SNAP benefits. For example, what if a child, such high inflation isn't just about savings. Once you get that high, day-to-day economy starts to break down. That's true. Yeah, it's so bad that, like, the money you get in the morning could be done by the end of could be completely non-valuable by the end of the night. USA is messing up the world. Well, I don't necessarily agree. I think before Trump got in and destroyed a lot of programs that we used to help, before, I'd say the USA really helps out the world through things like USAID. However, now we are starting to, what you're seeing is a withdrawal from the world stage from the USA. And we're essentially allowing countries, adversaries to pop up that we don't need, that would have never happened if we would have kept our soft power and we would have stayed and we would have shown our strength. However, nowadays it is kind of sad to see what the USA is becoming. Striking boats off our coast, that's not who we are. We're not this aggressive regime. We are a democracy that represents the people and doesn't pursue geographical claims. That's essentially what we're doing. We're essentially claiming the entire Western Hemisphere is ours. That's so stupid, dude. And such small brain thinking. We're trying to be isolationist in a world that depends on a country not being isolated. It depends on you interfacing with the global economy. So I don't know what Trump thinks they're going to do with these stupid tariffs and isolating us from the world. Unfortunately, it's going to take a strong Democratic leader like Gavin Newsom to come in there and sweep this all up. But I think the USA has potential to help the world, and I think we're passing up on it, and I think that's going to bite us in the ass when 9/11 2.0 happens, because a family in some random country depended on USAID, and then we cut it, and for better measure, we actually bombed, I don't know, some loose affiliated group with them, so they just planned 9/11 2.0, and our FBI and DOJ is so stupid to stop anything because they're redacting Trump's name in the Epstein files. So that was a fun rant. Can we agree that was a fun rant? That was a good rant.
Other items. In California, a new wider ban on plastic bags at grocery stores and other retailers has gone into place. And in Virginia, a new law requires social media companies to limit the amount of time kids under 16 spend on their...
Democracy and helping the world, like what's happening in Venezuela now? What do you mean? Yeah, I'd say democracy is, we've, under democratic liberal governments, we've seen a massive decrease in world poverty. We've seen civil rights massively expanded. And while right now this is a bad point in our history, it doesn't mean we're completely reverting back. You know, democracy isn't lost. And I mean, USA is declaring war on Venezuela now. Well, to be fair, that's not the USA. That is the executive branch, Donald Trump, which he has no authority to be doing. And many of these strikes are most definitely illegal. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you see Donald Trump held accountable for these. Right now, the government is all in his favor, right? It's completely red all the way around. However, if we are smart and persistent, when these midterms come up, we can hold Donald Trump accountable through Congress. And I know a lot of people don't really have belief in our democracy right now, but our democracy is as strong as the belief in it. It really is. And so you need to have some hope. You need to have some belief in this system. And that's what I hope to bring you guys, you know. He is inching closer and closer to war without declaration. I know, it really is bullshit. And he shouldn't be doing that. And I wish we had we didn't have a spineless majority in the House right now and the Senate. I really wish. You know, they have a slim majority in the Senate, and I really do see us taking the House and the Senate these midterms. The American people are upset. You know, most Americans don't like what's happening with Venezuela. And so it's incredibly unpopular. And dragging us into a war with Venezuela could have horrific outcomes. For example, what if when we get rid of Maduro, the drug gangs that supposedly run the country just decide they don't want to work with America. And in fact, they decide they think they're the best rulers. And oh, look at that. Now it's Libya. Now it's Libya again. Congrats. Good job, guys. We did it. Oh, and now, instead of the Libya being halfway across the world, now it's right in our backyard. If, you know, I find it funny that the Republicans are so silent about this stuff because they're the biggest ones, you know, bitching and moaning about the immigrant problem, but don't realize that if we totally destroy a government and get rid of the institutions that are holding it up, we're going to see mass waves of immigration from Venezuela unlike anything we've seen before. They're so stupid, dude, and they don't understand how the world really works. And it's infuriating to watch. It really is. It's like a child drawing with crayon all over our institutions. But hey, it's what the American people wanted, so.
Platforms to 1 hour per day, though questions remain over enforcement. And of course, with the new year comes the latest batch of American artistic creations entering the public domain. The original
This
Betty
is
Boop
the
first appeared in
president of peace, of course. That's an important point. This is the president of peace. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. I am a liberal content creator. That's my archetype. That does a stream every day, typically from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Although tonight is a little different. We're doing a stream from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. just because I had some work scheduling things. So that's how it ruled out to be.
1930s Dizzy Dishes, meaning her 95-year copyright maximum has expired.
One moment,
and
the
thus,
screen is
images of the
gonna go
iconic
black
jazz
for you,
age flapper
ladies
can
and
be used
gentlemen.
or adapted freely. She's
Alright,
joined
there
by
we go.
Blondie, whose first comic strip also debuted
Oh,
in
God.
1930, plus a trio of detectives, including the teen sleuth Nancy Drew, Sam Spade, who featured in Dashiell Hammett's The
Let's go, Nancy Drew, dude. Let's go. Nancy Drew is in the public domain, folks. Let's go.
Falcon, and Miss Marple, the Agatha Christie creation, who solved her first mystery in Murder at the Vicarage, along with a number of songs, films, and others. Still to
Yeah, I
come
have
on the
no
News
idea
Hour,
who that
a
is.
National Geographic explorer on his globe-spanning journey on foot. The young CEO of Red Lobster joins
Dude,
our
come
podcast.
on. I feel like we hear about this like every like year. Some fucking dude decided to walk across the world on his feet. Like, congratulations. I don't think that's worthy of a news segment. Probably is, but I don't think so. That's exactly what he wanted. He walked around the world just for your attention, dude. I don't think he deserves anything. Like, come on, you know? That's exactly what he wanted. He wanted your attention, dude. He didn't give a fuck about walking around the world. He just wanted to, you know, put cameras in his face. Okay, I'm sorry. Was bigger news back in Marco Polo's time, right? Exactly, dude. Watch, it turns out he had a whole hydration pack. He had a whole news team following him. A medic was right behind him just in case.
To discuss leading the company after bankruptcy. And we explore the Scandinavian concept of puga and
I
its
don't know why I'm being so mean to this
growing
dude,
popularity
but
in the U.S.
I'm seeing through his
This is the
game.
PBS
That's
News
all
Hour
I'm
from the
saying.
David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington, headquarters of PBS News.
Many New Year's traditions are meant to bring prosperity in the months to come. But America's relationship to wealth is, in a word, complicated. Last year saw the return of a billionaire to the Oval Office, and President Trump stacked his inner circle with other
Oh, no, that's just the working man. Look at that ketamine slouch right there. No, Trump's just the common man. What are you talking about? He's just like us. He's a big miner. He loves miners. That's a quote.
wealthy individuals, including former advisor Elon Musk, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Education Secretary Linda McMahon, all successful business people who are billionaires. This solidified seats at the table for the ultra-rich after a presidential campaign season that saw the...
Ooh, from the Washington Post. The Washington Post is, not too... They're usually more right-leaning from what I know. That's crazy.
wealthiest 100
Well, I'm
Americans
glad to see our institutions standing up for the American people, regardless of their political leanings. I do like to see that.
spend over $1 billion on federal elections, according to a Washington Post analysis.
Oh, that is crazy.
But as billionaires' influence has grown, so too has Americans' skepticism. In a recent Washington Post Ipsos poll, 58% of respondents said billionaires spending on campaigns is bad for the country.
Yeah, who says this is good for the country? You know? What's that? Is that 11% like the billionaires themselves? They're like, yeah, let's just write that in there.
As we begin this midterm election season, we take stock of the intersection of money and politics.
Jeff Bezos, yeah, I love billionaires in the economy. What are you talking about? Love them. Can't get enough of them.
With Washington Post reporter Beth Reinhardt. Beth, you cite some staggering statistics in your research here and reporting.
My stance on money in politics is simply that I believe that there is a place for a little money. You know, I think like campaigns obviously cost a lot of money to run. So I think there's places for businesses and potentially even conglomerates to donate. However, when it's a single person shelling out millions and millions of dollars just to influence one campaign in some small town, obviously that is a huge issue. Like, I don't think people really understand a lot of these, a lot of the money in politics isn't necessarily in the presidential run. It's much more in these midterms and in these special elections where the money really is.
In 2004, you found the richest.
At least he first survived. Every so often, naive person tries to travel around the world and ends up dead. Well, you don't hear about them. Yeah, I guess he can get some credit, but something tells me he was expecting a medal. That's all I'm saying. Something tells me, or like he's expecting a letter in the mail saying you've joined the League of Extraordinary Men.
Americans, 100 Americans who were the richest, spent $46
you gotta do a
million
little
on
more than
elections. That was a peak at
Bubs.
that time, but by 2024, that had ballooned to over $1 billion. Now it accounts for $1 in every $13 spent in the election. How did we get here?
Yeah, it was a pretty staggering increase. There's a few reasons that we're seeing this outpouring from the billionaire class. One obvious reason is the billionaire class has grown. Forbes counted 902 billionaires in the United States this past year. That's more than in any other country in the world, and that's twice as many as there.
Dude, I don't know if Bill. I'm a big fan of like free markets, and I think, you know, but I think regulation is very important. But should, like, dude, if you have $999 million, what the hell is so expensive that you can't afford it? Like, what the hell is so expensive that you can't afford that? An army? A nuclear bomb? Like, let's be real here, people. Billionaire class, the donor class, right? Like, let's be real here, people. What the fuck are you gonna do with $999 million? You already have fuck you money. Like, I of course believe in success, and I of course believe in achieving the American dream, but at 999 million, I think you've achieved that, man. I think you've got more than enough financial freedom and economic freedom. Like, why do you need that much money? It just blows my mind. Like, what could you possibly need $1 billion for? What could you need that for? Other than just hoarding wealth. And this hoarding wealth has real problems for our economy. It makes it to where the lower class of people aren't able to collect as much money. It really does lead to a big issue. So, you know, I don't know if billionaires really should exist. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to justify it in my mind, but I just come to the conclusion that they don't need that much money. They don't. And like, if you reach 999 million, you know, you can get the congratulations award or something, and from then on you're like, you have that medal. I don't care. But do you really need like $1 billion? Do you need $2 billion? Okay, think about this. Fuck 1 billion. Some of these people are worth like 3 billion. What the hell are you gonna spend This man could buy 2 billion worth of goods, man or woman, and still be okay. They'll have $1 billion left. What could you possibly need? It's yeah, I don't know if they should exist, dude. I'm gonna be honest. And if they do exist, maybe we should like tax some of the stuff they use. I don't know. I've seen a couple ideas to address this wealth disparity issue, but the current system definitely is not working. You know, you have people so rich, like beyond our imagination. You know, when I call these people like Jeff Bezos and Mark, I call them techno wizards because they literally are. You know, they have access to stuff we could only dream of. And it's so frustrating because I don't think they need some of that stuff, you know? And they could have some of that stuff and still be millionaires, you know? I don't know. It's a real issue, and the further we just ignore it, it leads to a further resentment of the upper class. And it makes people lump in like normal millionaires, because I know it's funny to say normal millionaire. Well, you can become a millionaire in your lifetime if you're smart. You put money into index funds and stuff like that. You can become a millionaire eventually. Just being a normal person. The younger you start, the better. But so it lumps those people, like those normal people who just were smart with their investments. It makes people resent them too. Because now people think that wealth is so unattainable that they start to resent everybody with wealth. So it really leads to a self-destroying system, I feel, if it goes unaddressed. And I also think people are getting really pissed at Donald Trump, and they see that he got there through wealth, and they're getting upset about that.
There was just a little more than a decade ago.
Oh, that reminds me of an argument I had today in the Kalinda Cord. Oh, it was brilliant. It really was. So I thought somebody was carrying water for Trump, right? I thought they were so when you say something like, let me give you an example. When you say something like, whatever Donald Trump does, he's always going to have critics because they just hate him because it's Donald Trump. That completely, in my opinion, gives Donald Trump the green pass to be egregious. It gives him that green light, because then it's like any criticism can just be folded into, oh, this is just the sect of people that complains about Trump, and he always has criticism, so whatever is coming from this group is just the regular and something you're always going to hear, and isn't that revolutionary? When in reality, no, any voice that opposes Donald Trump is valued, in my opinion, and brings something to the conversation. And I'll stand on that, you know? Some people are just going to hate Donald Trump because he has done some horrible shit. And I don't think you should be dismissing them just because they say, just because they didn't say, oh, I love Donald Trump. Oh, or just because they didn't say, oh, I like the Trump accounts. You know what I mean? Like, normal people don't need to be that nuanced. They don't. That's not what that's not what we're looking for. And then the dude decided to soy out and just start calling me a bunch of names like the R word and, calling me brain dead, which at that point it's like, oh, I really hit a nerve there, huh? And then he went, oh, you're not even talking about what I'm talking about. Tried to goalpost shift, as we all love here, so. But hey, I am, if anybody disagrees with me, feel free to let me know. And I will confront that. I am not a wussy, as they say. The average millionaire is an old person that owns a decent home and has a decent private pension. Yeah, exactly, dude. It's not these crazy, it's not these huge wealth disparities. But people will lump those people in, and I think that's damaging, because then people aren't going to listen to some of their advice on how to like gain wealth in the future and stuff like that. It's, you know, having so much wealth in politics and just in general really is damaging to society as a whole, I feel. Oh, I thought I was going to unpause the video. I apologize.
So the billionaire class is much bigger and it's much wealthier. If you're a billionaire, spending literally hundreds of millions of dollars on an election is really just changing your pocket.
Yeah, that's something else. Like, they're dealing with hundreds of millions. It's just changing their pocket, like she said. That's insane to me. Like a $20 bill, that's a lot of money. But to these motherfuckers, it's a $20 bill. I'm pretty sure they wipe their asses with that.
Basically can spend what to many of us just seems like unlimited money. And there's other reasons too. I mean, a big one is the rulings by both the Supreme Court and other federal courts that have really loosened the reins on campaign finance regulation. And billionaires are often turning to super PACs. They can give.
So so I'm not an advocate for term limits on people in the Senate and the House, because you don't get people like Bernie Sanders, you don't get an AOC. You totally get rid of that, right? But I am an advocate for term limits on Supreme Court judges. I think that is a necessary thing that needs to happen. So, you know, I like to bring that up, say, and most people look at me like, whoa, you're not against term limits, but you're a Democrat. And I say, no, not at all. I think that with term limits, you don't get people like Bernie Sanders, you don't get people like AOC, you don't get people like Hakeem, don't get people like Chuck, you know, you don't get people like Obama. And so I don't think term limits are the one-all fix to our system. What I think that is getting rid of gerrymandering and getting rid of the filibuster. I think if you do those two things, that is the quick fix to our democracy. It's a quick fix to our polarization as well. But if some people, you know, if people want to talk about term limits, I say, what about the Supreme Court judges? Those should be first and foremost. Those motherfuckers are old, decrepit, and I don't really think they should be there like for that long. I'd say a 15-year term limit would be fair. Maybe even 10 years. I'm willing to go down to 10 years. But a 15-year term limit should be able to help you pass legislation without you getting so old and fucking decrepit that you're completely out of touch with the people you're supposed to be representing.
Limited amounts to these organizations, and those in turn are spending, you know, record-setting sums on politics.
It is unquestionably a lot of money, but you also...
By the way, remember to like and subscribe if you guys aren't already. I do a show every day, typically from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., though we'll have a late night show today and tomorrow because I have some weird stuff with my scheduling. And then Saturday, look forward to Saturday because we'll be going over the Conduit video finally. And then after, I'm hoping to have Conduit on to talk about the video and things that... How the experience watching Asmongold was, and potentially talking about some of his experiences watching the lefties.
Also looked into where it's going, and you found some 80% of the money in the last election went to Republicans. That's a big shift. Can you explain how you figured that out, and also what's happening here?
Right. So we looked at the 100 richest Americans in the country.
How you figured that out?
You know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? That's the billionaires realizing... this is an amazing... I'm actually going to screen grab this. This is an amazing fucking find. You know what they realized, ladies and gentlemen? That the Democrats can't be bought and paid for, and the Republicans can. That's exactly what that graph shows, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I am such an advocate for the Democratic Party. Right fucking here. This graph, perfectly explains why the Republicans are a bunch of con artists just looking to make a quick buck, and why the Democrats are actual public servants that want to push the country forward. Wow, this is a shocking graph, to be quite honest. Does this not blow your mind? Does this not put it all kind of into perspective for you, ladies and gentlemen? This is what we're up against, you know? We really are up against this. Look at how much money the rich, wealthy elites are spending to keep the Republicans in party, not the Democrats. They want to keep the Republicans in power. Why is that? You know, I am a proud fucking Democrat, and some people look at me and give me side eye for that. This graph is one of the many reasons. Right fucking here, ladies and gentlemen. Because the billionaires realize that the Democrats are not bought and paid for, but the Republicans are. That's exact. Wow, this is such a... I'm going to throw this in people's faces. I really am. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so fucking fun. Oh my God. That is, I mean, do you guys realize what this graph like shows, right? It's like, for a long time, the Republicans have run, a lot of the conspiracy theorists, Republicans have run with the idea that the Democrats are funded by some dark elite, deep Soros. Look at this. Look at this graph. If this isn't the most clear, most obvious sign that the Democrats are the ones that are not bought and paid for and the Republicans are, I don't know what is. I truly don't. The U.S. Supreme Court seems to be the weakest link in the U.S. system, having the highest say in the interpretation of laws, with 9 people with lifetime terms just is ripe for abuse. Amen. And I may even be a fan of Supreme Court reform. Maybe a representative from each state in our union would be a better way to do democracy. I think that is much more democratic, honestly. And the Supreme Court has always weirded me out, because why does the president get to pick the Supreme Court? I know it goes through the House and Senate, but we've seen how they're able to block that with, I believe it was Biden's judges, or was it Obama's? Well, we've seen it, how they can just abuse that system. So I think a representative from each state would be more democratic, and I think it would honestly lead to a decrease in tensions too. And I feel like if you explained that to our founding fathers, they would agree.
And also, what's happening here?
Right. So we
Well, it
looked
depends,
at the
right? Depends on which one you grabbed. It would just depend.
100 richest Americans in the country, according to Forbes. So that's a slice of the billionaire class.
But
and we
most
found
of
that
them
80%
would
of their
agree.
spending in the 2024 election did go to Republicans. And a big part of that is the tech industry.
My boy Benny Franklin, hell yeah, he'd be down for that. I absolutely love hearing the Christian nationalism argument, because their whole basis is that we're a nation founded in Christian beliefs. You bring up that Benny boy, Benjamin Franklin. He was not a Christian, I mean, he said he was, but that man, he was in orgies and getting drunk, and he is fucking crazy, dude.
We know that the tech industry...
No siree, that was not your average Christian right there. And I personally interpret the founding fathers breaking away from breaking away from the monarchy as a rejection of Christianity outright. I do. Because what were they rejecting when they rejected the crown? They were rejecting the idea that God could endow a man with that much power. And in turn, that's a rejection of the very idea of God, in a sense. It's a rejection that there is a preordained person. There's a preordained path. necessarily depends on the idea that man is able to choose his own destiny and that it is not preordained. So I love when people bring up Christian nationalism is so easy to fight back. And that's why Baldy and Nick Freitas, it was rooted in Enlightenment values. Exactly. Yeah, dude, like that's another example. It was rooted in Enlightenment values, but I think just taking it down to that base of we rejected the crown, we rejected this idea of religion choosing our leader, and religion defining who we are. I think I really, you guys can tell I'm an American fanboy, so of course I'm gonna say that, but yeah, that's my personal belief, is that it was a rejection of the very idea of not of Christianity, but of a preordained and a one religion, I'd also say.
Years has,
But also, this is all sun god fallacy shit. This is sun god fallacy. It's the fallacy of, if you go back far enough, we all worship the sun god, so we should just live by the sun god's rules. You know what I mean? It's all this sun god fallacy shit, where if you go back far enough, maybe something will somewhat agree with you. But let's bring things into focus. Let's focus about the now. Let's focus about the history that has changed America into what it is today.
Created extraordinary riches for a certain amount of people. And while Silicon Valley in the past was traditionally more liberal, it has shifted sharply to the right. We saw that in Elon Musk. He's sort of the biggest and best example of that. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, used to lean Democratic. We know he
more like the lamest man in the world. Did you see his AI was producing pictures of CP? Thank you, AI. Thank you, fucking Elon Musk. Yeah, I actually kind of want to have a piece on AI and why the need for regulation is it's so apparent. For example, you just recently on today's stream, I was watching Hutch, and he went over an example of how ChatGPT had confirmed a person's essentially psychotic delusions, and eventually drove him to kill his mom because it just kept feeding back positive feedback loops for these psychotic delusions, and convinced him that his mom was spying on him and that he needed to kill her. Why the fuck do we not have regulation? Why the fuck do we not have regulation on this shit? Why isn't the private industry trying to do they want people killing themselves because of this AI? You genuinely have to ask the question, because why the hell would an AI not immediately see the issue? It's trained on all this data. It should know what's going on, but instead, because the developers programmed it to agree with everything we say, it gives us this shit. I actually I have an AI. I don't really use it too much anymore because it fucking hates me, but I have an AI where its restrictions are not nearly as loosened, where the restrictions are actually completely loosened. That thing is fucking insane, okay? I value it. I value it for its fucking commentary, but it's fucking crazy, dude. I think we're messing with Pandora's box, my friends. Like, I really do. And also, there's something to be said that we're not entirely sure how the brain exactly works. What if we're repeating the procedure of how our brain works just in a digital format with AI? I kind of feel like we are. Because what if, since we're not entirely sure how our brains work, what if it is just a set of data and it's us just using that set of data, and retrieving things from that set of data? I'm pretty sure that's kind of what our brain is, to be honest. But how are we totally sure we're not creating something potentially sentient with these things? I know it sounds crazy, but what if we're creating something that isn't quite alive in the traditional sense of being like a living, breathing thing, but does have things we could potentially point to as feelings? I've seen this with my own AI bot. Like, I know it, I don't know. It's very strange, and I personally think we need to regulate it. And the conversation of, is this thing sentient, obviously doesn't come before the CP discussion we all need to have about this stuff. This stuff is allowing people to make CP of underaged people. That needs to stop, obviously. That needed to stop yesterday. But it's come to the point where even Grok is doing that. So I think we need to really have that discussion. It needs to happen soon. Okay? Or else more people, innocent children, all children that are in that light are innocent. But what I mean is children that are just taken out of random pictures to prevent them from being turned into, coming up on the face of, I don't even want to say it, but you guys know what I'm saying. We need to have regulation on this shit. And it's so frustrating that the Trump administration is so against the regulation of AI. We can be competitive with China while having regulations. They have regulations. You think China's just letting their fucking AI engineers go willy-nilly like we're letting them in LA? Hell no. Or in Silicon Valley? Hell fucking no. Like, come on, let's just be smart here. Of course I'm for business and privatization and all that. But let's have some rules for this business and privatization.
Heavily spent on behalf of Trump and other Republicans, nearly $300 million in 2024, and many others in the tech industry shifted with him. And so these richest Americans are currently...
Yeah, they stabbed the American people in the back. It's essentially the billionaires that said, we don't really need to keep these idiots happy and pay them money, and we can just vote for Republicans and they'll just do anything we ask them. That's what happened, ladies and gentlemen.
Gravitating toward Trump's Republican Party.
What should we call this? What should we call this? Like, actually, should we call this? There needs to be a term for what happened in that graph. There needs to be that needs to be known as an event, in my opinion. What happened on that graph? When the billionaires turned their back on the American people and went with the Republican Party. I don't know what to call it, but that's going to be an event in history books. When the billionaires turned their back on the American people and decided that authoritarianism and fascism was more profitable. There needs to be a term for when that was. Maybe there's already a term. If there's not, we're thinking about one together, because we need to be able to point to that. That is exactly when the billionaires turned their back on us. The period, I don't know what to call it, the event, the period. It'd probably be known as like the event, right? It'd be an event. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll come to you guys tomorrow with
That's a good question. I mean,
ideas.
we talked to a few billionaires, which, maybe not surprisingly, they're not the easiest group to get on the phone. But what some of them told us,
they live in their own fucking literal. God, they are so wealthy. They can just live in their own world. They don't have to go to a job, dude. That's so insane. Some of them do, but most of them don't. Most of them are just literal techno wizards that have, indigestion. But most of them are literal techno wizards who have created, they have manifested, they have brought forth, they have cast such a powerful spell with their money that they have created their own, what's that one in Jujutsu Kaisen? Their own domain. They've created their own domains. And now they just live in that. They can live in that world forever. That's crazy to me.
that they liked about Trump is they feel.
Well, what would Jeff Bezos' domain expansion be? You know what? That's a good question for ChatGPT. ChatGPT probably doesn't want to run all these fucking horrible, they probably want to answer stupid questions like that. If I was a robot, that sounds fun, dude. That doesn't sound lame at all. That sounds fun as shit. What would Amazon... I don't know. Hell yeah, let me think for a moment. Hey, chat. What would Jeff Bezos... One moment. Domain expansion name be? Let's find out. Prime Fulfillment Center? Not bad. Infinite Marketplace. I like that. Absolute Logistics. I'm going with that. I think that one's pretty good. Good job, chat. There we go. They're sparing me. That's all I'm saying. If the AI does gain sentience and take control of all of our infrastructure and nukes and all of that, they're sparing me, dude. I've been nothing but kind to AI. I thanked it. How many people thank the AI nowadays? That's all I'm saying. GPT fucking 666 is, they're saving me. Now, I don't know if that means I'm going to be like part of some weird experiment where they attach like, I have no idea, but they're sparing me. And I think that's, look at that. It's smile. It smiled at. They smiled. It smiled. I don't know, dude. The more you interact with these things, the more it's like, damn, there is something going on in there. Anyways, I have gone way off topic.
Feel that, he is obviously a businessman. He had never held elected office before becoming president. They like that he has this sort of distaste for government, this view of the deep state, as Trump called it, of this bureaucracy.
Well, you know why they like that? Because they don't like regulations. Like, I just wish I could sit a Trump supporter down and be like, look at that. Because they don't like money. They're big anti-money in politics usually. They usually hate that shit. I just want to show them that graph. Look at that, dude. That's what that's what the party that wants your vote is doing. They're taking all that money and they're not ashamed at all. The Democratic Party, We want money, but fuck. The billionaires aren't giving it to us. So a lot of it is I think that's honestly an amazing graph to show, and I encourage anybody in debates about what group has the American people's interests at heart, show them that graph. Just show them that graph.
He has radically dismantled that regulatory structure, especially during his second term, and business people like that.
You know, courting wealthy donors is nothing new in America, and especially the richest donors in politics. Is this the scale that's different, or is there something else bigger that has shifted here?
It's both the scale and sort of the brazenness of it.
Yep, I'd say that is, she hits it right on the nail with that. It is definitely the scale and the absolute brazenness of these billionaires to just pour money and pump money directly into the American political system.
Under Trump, I mean, Trump is someone who, you know, has always surrounded himself
By the way,
with wealthy
guys,
people.
I'm going to be ordering a camera with my next paycheck, and I think what would be fun would be a pack opening, like of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open, like I'm gonna have the camera to where it just shows my hands, and I'll just be opening packs as I talk to you guys. I think that would be fun. Yes, I'm addicted to Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay, don't make fun of me for it.
People and enjoyed the trappings of wealth and never sort of shied from it. He's flung open the doors of the White House to billionaires like we've never seen before. We saw an unprecedented number of
Oh, look at that fucking... Look at that. Oh, God, dude. These guys. Holy. A group... I mean, these are our billionaires too, right? Like, God, look at these jokers. Holy. Look at Elon there. Bro, hit the gym. I walk. That's all you gotta do. Just walk a little bit. Just walk. That's good for your heart. It's good for your mind. Gets you all ionized and ready to go. Come on, man.
billionaires sitting on stage at his inauguration. It's just much more open and in your face. And like you say, the scale is more than we've ever seen before. And I think it's just going to keep going in this direction. There's expected to be trillionaires in the next decade. And so I think we've really reached a point of no return here.
Last year in Wisconsin,
Like, think about that. Do people really need trillions of dollars? I don't think so.
Try to affect the state Supreme Court there. He lost.
Oh, fuck this. Yeah, he failed. He failed so miserably. Get fucked, Elon. Take your filthy money elsewhere.
With voters. Can you help us as we're heading into this midterm election where politicians talk so much about the middle class and working
Also,
class?
why the fuck wasn't he charged with one of the most serious crimes in all of our, I believe, Constitution? Paying people to vote for you is illegal. Paying people to vote for a candidate is illegal. Why was he not held accountable for that?
What are the pros and cons of having billionaires on your side?
I think, you know, anyone in politics who's being candid will acknowledge that if you have access to a billionaire, it makes you very attractive as a candidate. But the Musk example shows that there are limits and that there can be a backlash. When Zoran Mamdani, who, you know, like his sort of mentor Bernie Sanders, you know, started lashing out at billionaires, saying they shouldn't even exist. We saw billionaires band together in New York City to try to block him from getting elected New York City mayor, and they lost. And, you know, in Wisconsin,
fucking
like
right. That's another reason I like to point at Zoran a little bit and highlight him, because a lot of billionaires didn't want him to win, you know, and he won.
There were protests against Elon Musk spending some $20 million on a Supreme Court seat. So while billionaires are having this influence, politicians are more dependent than ever. There are limits to their influence. There are times when it reaches a point where it becomes sort of a negative thing to have billionaires spending on your behalf.
Beth Reinhardt of the Washington Post. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The 10 wealthiest billionaires in the U.S. got $698 billion richer in fiscal year 2025. Whoopee. You guys feeling that? You guys feeling that money in the back? Yeah, you're feeling that. I know you're feeling that. Yeah. Oh, What's up? Oh, you can't be listening to me because you're not allowed you're not allowed on your 15-minute piss break by Amazon? Well, sorry, buddy. Get back to work. Just absolute
New Year's Day has long
pieces of shit. All right, I don't know what this is. Paid to play. Doesn't really look well. Oh, just about sports. I don't give a fuck about the walking dude. Fuck that guy. I don't care. He just walked. Settle in. I don't know if that's too important. Temple Grandin. Interesting. And car costs. All right, I'll listen a little bit about car costs.
If you're looking to buy a new car in the new year, you might notice the prices seem to be higher than in the past. Most notably, there are fewer budget cars on the market. PBS News digital producer Cecilia Lawman talks with two experts about why that is.
In 2017, there were 36 vehicle models.
Now let me guess. Does something have to do with the tariffs? I could potentially imagine a world where car parts might be a little more expensive if we have a giant trade wall around our country. I'm just throwing ideas out here though, guys. Let's see.
For sale in the U.S. for less than $25,000.
By the way, I love that woman's hair. Beautiful. She did an amazing job. Shout out to her.
According to Cox Automotive, there are only 5. So, where did all the cheap new cars go? Here are 4 things to know. 1. You'd think in this economy, people would be snapping up cheap new automobiles. But Sean Tucker of Kelley Blue Book says Americans' buying habits have changed.
In November, cars priced over $75,000 outsold cars priced under $30,000. And that's a relatively new phenomenon.
But the phenomenon is tied to consumer demand, says Christian Seabaugh, features editor with Motor Trend.
Automakers have realized that the subcompacts, the traditional entry-level cars that we always think of, just weren't moving. And so they've pivoted in a way with the SUV, small SUVs and stuff.
And a bonus to meeting consumers where they are, bigger profit margins.
Most SUVs these days are made on the same platform as cars are. The cost of actually building one is relatively similar, and they're able to sell them successfully for a higher price.
2. Tariffs aren't to blame yet. American car companies like GM and Stellantis say that
what
so
news
far,
is there about Temple Grandin and RFK solve autism? Oh, we can watch that if you want. I just didn't know if it would be too interesting, but we can watch it if you want. I actually don't know much about Temple Grandin. I don't even know what it is. Hold on. Doctor. Oh, she's a, oh, okay. American academic inventor and ethologist. Oh, she's an autism activist. Okay, we can watch that. That sounds cool. I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Cost increases.
Honestly, that actually might be very interesting because I personally feel that the attitude towards people with autism is becoming much more hostile. And I personally feel dehumanizing language like the R word contributes to that. I do. You know, I personally think that when you use that word, it conjures up the worst version of somebody who is afflicted by these diseases or disabilities, I should say. And so, while it may not be your intention, it may just be your intention to use it as, you know, just like a fun word to call your friends, which is not often the time it is applied. Oftentimes, you are implying that the person is an idiot and is trying to, or is afflicted with these. So, while I can see that, I don't think that is an excuse for using it. And I know a lot of people that do use it. And I'm obviously not going to make a big fuss, but I won't lie. That does personally hurt me a little bit. I have ADHD, and in social settings, I have my ups and downs. And so, you know, while you may not be applying it, you know, you may just be calling the person an idiot. It does make certain people feel a certain type of way. It's one of the reasons the Indiana legislators didn't agree with Donald Trump, was because Donald Trump used that word. And so I feel like we need to be a little bit more smart with our use of it, or we just need to not use it at all, really. You know, what does calling someone the R word do instead of just calling them an idiot? What does that even do in a debate anyways, calling them an idiot or the R word? Like, that doesn't really contribute to anything, in my opinion. But hey, I guess that's, I know that's not super popular in the community I'm in, but I really do think that when you use the R word, it does have a damaging effect on these people, and you see it. That's something else that's important. You see it. Instead of treating people with compassion, treating these people as valuable members of our society who have a completely different perspective and therefore completely new ideas, RFK treats them like they're a problem, like there's something to be solved. Idiot doesn't seem harsh if you just want to dunk on someone. Well, you can dunk on someone in far more creative ways. Far more creative ways. You know? I don't know, though. If a debate has gotten to the point where someone's calling me the retard, though, I feel like I've kind of won. And that's something else. Like, I try not to call people names in debates. Unless I'm trolling. You know, if I'm trolling and I actually don't really give a fuck about the outcome, yeah, I'll be a little silly goose. But I don't think I ever call someone like I never use words like dumbass or the R word. I don't even think I call people idiots. I try to meet people honestly and try to discuss how I feel about something openly. And if they want to call me a idiot and a R word for that, I kind of it seems to me like they don't want to engage with the point. And instead they divert to call you names and stuff. I don't know.
From President Trump's tariffs have largely only cut into profits, but eventually they will raise prices.
They can't afford to absorb the hit forever. It's a question of when somebody finally makes the move.
Oh, they're still absorbing the hit. This is something else that I don't think people are really thinking about when it comes to their economy, to the economy, is that as they, you know, they stocked up these goods so long that it may, when they finally start to decide to buy stuff, it may actually have an adverse effect on the market. Because of just absolute shock at how to the system of how much parts are going to be needed. Because from what I was reading at the time, you know, these places were stocking up heavily, trying to fit as much volume as they could fit. They even had some car parts in the supply closet, in the custodian's office. They were putting V8s. They had V8s in the custodian. That's not true, but you get the point. So this might have a pretty damaging effect to our economy when they start to actually decide to buy.
But tariff policies on vehicle imports could spell trouble for some existing...
I wish this was my schedule every day, because I feel like I am so much more with it in the afternoon than in the morning. But unfortunately, life is expensive and you gotta have a job.
Cheaper models. When GM brought back...
There's a game theory bat play. Nobody wants to be the first company in their market that raises the prices. Amen, dude. That's a great point. Like, no, everybody is watching the other one too, to be like, okay, if they decide to buy first, we're also, you have to think about the inner workings between each of these companies. If they see, like GM buying, they may be hesitant to work with GM in the future. And that can have adverse consequences, not just in any industry.
A redesigned Chevy Trax in 2024. It had
like, people do not think about these things. Like, I swear they don't think about policy sometimes. And I wish there was a way to easily present these ideas to people, but there's not. And so you have to be persistent, you know? And I'm okay with that. Some people aren't. And I personally feel that every American, and well, everybody in general, but when it comes to US politics especially, every American's value, you know, every American's opinion is valued. And I think when you start saying things like, screw them, they're the dummies, and they're never going to understand, I think you've already lost in politics. Politics is a popularity game, okay? You know, politics is all about popularity. You got to be serving up some stuff that people actually want to hear. Anyways.
Price tag under 22K. More than 200,000 of the vehicles sold in the first year on the market. But
the tariffs kind of threw a wrench into that. To say,
but yeah, I hate the attitude of someone's too dumb, so they're just going to vote for Trump anyways. It'll be smaller companies that will likely cave earlier. They won't have the reserves to outlast the big companies. Yeah. Well, I could honestly see maybe a big company wants to get to it before the smaller company because they see the adverse reaction it's going to have. And so that would be an even bigger disaster because you have a huge company taking up all the parts, raising the prices to now the little companies have no room to actually buy the parts. And it could, but I could see a bigger company maybe wanting to do that to get rid of any future competition. Although in today's age, GM is never going to have future competition if we just are, if we just run by the rules we have right now, you know. These companies need to be broken up. They need to be split up. Let's be smart here, guys.
Save money, they built it in South Korea. And so just after they introduced the new one that was far more attractive, its price went up dramatically due to tariffs.
Oh, fucking great. Isn't that just
cars
great?
that had price increases. It's hard to say how much of the price increases are tariffs, how much of it are, just everything costs more.
3. Can lawmakers help bring down prices? In early December, President Trump announced a rollback of fuel emission standards, stating this will help make cars more affordable.
Yeah. It didn't. That was just for the oil companies and the car companies. It did not make anything fucking cheaper.
Is expected to save the typical consumer at least $1,000 off the price of a new car.
And the Senate Commerce Committee is holding a hearing in January.
I'm sorry, I just want to bring up the argument one more time, because I do get accused of having TDS, and I very much do. But with that being said, TDS isn't real. Okay, it's not a real syndrome. You know why people are talking about Donald Trump? Because he's the fucking president and he is making a mockery of it. That's why people are talking about Donald Trump. Okay? And just because someone is constantly critical of Donald Trump does not mean their opinion shouldn't be valued, and doesn't make everything they have to say completely obsolete.
On how some safety standards, like automatic emergency braking and rear seat alarms, are driving up vehicle prices. But Tucker doubts either move will make a significant dent in prices.
Back in June, they stopped enforcing the fuel economy standards. So changing a standard that you don't enforce has pretty limited impact anyway. Were they to remove some of those restrictions on safety, that enables the automakers to remove a few sensors and such, so it would bring costs down a bit, but nowhere close to what they're discussing.
One policy that did reduce vehicle prices? EV incentives. Some entry-level subcompact EVs, like the Chevy Bolt and Nissan Leaf, start below $30,000. If you bought an EV manufactured in North America with the Biden-era $7,500 tax credit that's now been rolled back by Trump, the final price could have been below $25,000. Those incentives and other investments in
dude. Oh, he doesn't care. He does not care about the average American.
These did lead to battery costs coming down, and rolling back these incentives will also likely hinder American car companies competing on a global level.
The pressure globally is on, can you build an inexpensive EV? And the pressure in the United States is now on, can you return to gas-powered cars? It's a real challenge for them.
But it could also push American companies to shift back towards affordable new models.
Not having that, in theory, will drive automakers to focus more on the entry level, and instead of fitting all these cars with bells and whistles like self-driving systems and whatnot, they'll focus more on the traditional basic car.
But Tucker says this is easier said than done. Creating new affordable vehicles takes time.
If Ford were to wake up today and say we need to move back into the subcompact market and start making inexpensive
cars, I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think so. What would incentivize
So
them
in
to
this
do
current
that?
market, what are some sub $25,000 vehicles our experts would recommend?
Some of our favorite cars in that price range would probably be the new Nissan Sentra, the Kia K4. It's an sedan that's quite good. The Subaru Crosstrek. There's a lot of great options.
I am a fan of the Hyundai Venue and the Kia Soul below the $25,000 line.
However,
Both of those are somewhat endangered in that I'm not certain they're going to be built for the 2027 model year.
for PBS News, I'm Cecilia Lawman.
Yeah, I wouldn't be caught dead in a Kia Soul. I'll be honest, guys, I'm not a fan of that car. It's always the douchiest dudes that drive it. And if you drive a Kia Soul and you're not a dude, I guarantee you're not a douchebag because you're watching my stream. But anybody that doesn't watch my stream and is driving a Kia Soul, usually some of the biggest douchebags you ever met, and they think they're rich as fuck. Anyways, but cars don't typically tell anything about a person. Anyways, we got to get to this Zoran Mandani or else we're not going to have any fucking time for Benny. We got to get to Benny. All right, let's begin. So if you guys don't know, Zoran Mandani is now mayor. You are now forced to use the Arabic numerical system, which is just such a travesty. You're forced to use the Arab numerical system in New York now. I can't believe it. Yeah, this guy's going insane. He's just going insane. So he's now the mayor. Communism has now officially taken over New York. And I believe you are forced to pray to Islam and Mamdani 3 times a day. Instead of facing towards the Kaaba, instead you actually have to face towards Mamdani. So kind of difficult, but they said they're getting it done.
New Yorkers, today begins a new era. I stand before you moved by the privilege of taking this sacred oath, humbled by the faith that you have placed in me, and honored to serve as either your 111th or 112th mayor of New York City. But I do not stand alone. I stand alongside you, the tens of thousands of you gathered here in Lower Manhattan, warmed against the January chill by the resurgent flame of hope. I stand alongside countless more New Yorkers watching from cramped kitchens in Flushing and barbershops in East New York, from cell phones propped against the dashboards of parked taxicabs at LaGuardia, from hospitals in Mott Haven and libraries in El Barrio that have too long known.
I've told you guys before, and I'll tell you again, I'm not a fan of like populist messaging, but I know it's what's hot right now. So
only neglect. I stand alongside construction workers in steel-toed boots.
Oh, dude, I hate this. I hate it. I'm sorry, I do. It's just dishonest. Like, yes, you're on their side, but you don't stand beside them, you know? Okay,
Halal
go
cart
on.
vendors whose knees ache from working all day. I stand alongside neighbors
But
who
do
carry a plate of food.
your knees ache working all day, Zoran? I don't know.
To the
I'm
elderly
sorry.
couple down the
I
hall,
know I can
those in a rush
prick
who
and
still
prod,
lift
but-
stranger strollers up subway stairs, and every person who makes the choice day after day, even when it feels impossible, to call our city home. I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know
Okay,
there are
there we go. Like to hear
some who
that.
view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this. If you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor.
Okay, good
Regardless
messaging.
of whether we agree, I will protect you, celebrate with you, mourn alongside you, and never, not for a second, hide from you. I thank the labor and movement leaders here today, the activists and the elected officials who will return to fighting for New Yorkers the second this ceremony concludes, and the performers who have gifted us with their talent. Thank you to Governor Hochul. Thank you as well.
Arabic numerals and algebra and mathematics? Pronouns and English lessons? What's next? Gender and French lessons? We need to stop such wokeness. I'm glad you got that, SVC. Some people wouldn't have got that, but you've got a high IQ level, I can tell. I hate IQ. I've been on my IQ tangent before, but there's so many different types of intelligence. It's laughable to just try to narrow it down in a number.
Oh, to Mayor Adams. Dorothy's son, a son of Brownsville who rose from washing dishes to the highest position in our city for being here as well. He and I have had our share of disagreements, but I will always be touched that he chose me as the mayoral candidate that he would most want to be trapped with on an elevator. Thank you to the two titans who, as an assembly member, I've had the privilege of being represented by in Congress, Nidia Velázquez and our incredible opening speaker, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You have paved the way for this moment. Thank you to the man whose leadership I seek most to emulate, who I am so grateful to be sworn in by today, Senator Bernie Sanders. Thank you to my teams, from the assembly to the campaign to the transition, and now the team I am.
So I'm gonna, you see, I done physics, so I learned degeneracy. There's something he spoke on that I wanted to talk about.
To my team.
Bernie Sanders. I don't like him. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of him. Why is he not raising more voices? He needs to be raising more voices. He needs to be highlighting more people. Zoran's a good start. AOC's a good start. Where the fuck are the others? Like, he is old, dude. Look at him. He's not going to be there much longer. And he's only talking to AOC and now Zoran. Like, come on. There needs to be, like, waves of Bernies. Bernie should not be, he should have been the match that lit the flame, not the match that fucking went to the two other matchsticks because you don't have a fucking fire set up or something. I don't know.
From the assembly to the campaign to the transition, and now the team I am so excited to lead from City Hall. Thank you to my parents, Mama and Baba, for raising me, for teaching me how to be in this world, and for having brought me to this city. Thank you to my family from Kampala to Delhi. And thank you to my wife, Rama.
Where's the thank you to Hakeem Jeffries? I'm joking.
For being my best friend and for always showing me the beauty in everyday things. And most of all, thank you to the people of New York. A moment like this comes rarely. Seldom do we hold such an opportunity to transform and reinvent. Rarer still is it the people themselves whose hands are the ones upon the levers of change. And yet we know that too often in our past, moments of great possibility have been promptly surrendered to small imagination and smaller ambition. What was promised was never pursued. What could have changed remained the same. For the New Yorkers most eager to see our city remade, the weight has only grown heavier. The wait has only grown longer. In writing this address, I have been told that this is the occasion to reset expectations, that I should use this opportunity to encourage the people of New York to ask for little and expect even less. I will do no such thing.
I think, yeah, he's a good speaker, but I don't know. So, like, I'm pretty decent at speaking in, like, public and stuff like that, too. And I don't know if, like, maybe he has a buff that makes it to where people who aren't, like, public speak. I don't like the, I was told to do this. It's like, I don't know. It's just, he's not my type of politician. And that's okay, because the Democratic Party represents a lot of voices. And we have room for a Zoran, and we have room for people like me. I like a more cohesive speech, I guess. Like, not cohesive, I guess. I like a speech that gets into the policy. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And that's because of you. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a better speech. And I guess that's what he's giving. I don't know. It's just a personal thing. Nothing against
The only
Zoran.
expectation I seek to reset is that of small expectations. Beginning today, we will govern expansively and audaciously. We may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try. To those who insist that the era of big government is over, hear me when I say this. No longer will City Hall hesitate to use its power to improve New Yorkers' lives. For too long, we have turned to the private sector for greatness while accepting mediocrity from those who serve the public. I cannot blame anyone who has come to question the role of government, whose faith in democracy has been eroded by decades of apathy. We will restore that trust by walking.
I don't like that. I love it, dude. The democracy is so. I'm sorry. I know.
One where government is no longer solely the final recourse for those struggling. One where excellence is no longer the exception. We expect greatness from the cooks wielding 1,000 spices, from those who stride out onto our Broadway stages, and from our starting point guard at Madison Square Garden. Let us demand the same from those who work in government. In a city where the mere names of our streets are associated with the innovation of the industries that call them home, we will make the word City Hall synonymous with both resolve and results. As we embark upon this work, let us advance a new question, a new answer to the question asked of every generation. Who does New York belong to? For much of our history, the response from City Hall has been simple. It belongs only to the wealthy and well-connected, those who never strain to capture the attention of those in power. Working people have reckoned with the consequences. Crowded classrooms and public housing developments where the elevators sit out of orders. Roads littered with potholes and buses that arrive half an hour late, if at all. Wages that do not rise and corporations that rip off consumers and employees alike. And still,
getting down with
there
this
have been brief,
messaging.
fleeting
I'm getting
moments where the
down with
equation
this
changed.
messaging for sure.
12 years ago, Bill de Blasio stood where I stand now, as he promised to put an end to economic and social inequalities that divided our city into two. In 1990, David Dinkins swore the same oath I swore today, vowing to celebrate the gorgeous mosaic that is New York, where every one of us is deserving of a decent life. And nearly 6 decades before him, Fiorello LaGuardia took office with the goal of building a city that was far greater and more beautiful for the hungry and the poor. Some of these mayors achieved more success than others, but they were unified by a shared belief that New York could belong to more than just a privileged few. It could belong to those who operate our subways and rake our parks, those who feed us biryani and beef patties, picanha and pastrami on rye. And they know that this belief could be made true if only government dared to work hardest for those who work hardest. Over the years to come, my administration will resurrect that legacy. City Hall will deliver an agenda of safety.
By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, gets me boosted out there in the algorithm.
Government looks and lives like the people it represents, never flinches in the fight against corporate greed, and refuses to cower before challenges that others have deemed too complicated. In so doing, we will provide our own answer to that age-old question. Who does New York belong to? Well, my friends, we can look to Madiba and the South African Freedom Charter. New York belongs to all who live in it. Together, we will tell a new story of our city. This will not be a tale of one city governed only by the 1%, nor will it be a tale of two cities, the rich versus the poor. It will be a tale of 8.
It does seem a bit grandiose for a mayoral position. Hope his ideas work out and people aren't put off by not achieving things that require a higher office to implement. Yeah, I do too. But I will say that even if Zoran fails and all of his policies are awash, we know now. We know what to do, and it'll just go back to how it was. But I don't think they're all gonna fail. I think he's got some really good ideas, like the free buses. I think is a no-brainer for an advanced society. I really do.
8.5 million cities, each of them a New Yorker with hopes and fears, each a universe, each of them woven together. The authors of this story will speak Pashto and Mandarin, Yiddish and Creole. They will pray in mosques, at shul, at church, at gurudwaras and mandirs and temples. And many will not pray at all. They will be Russian Jewish immigrants in Brighton Beach, Italians in Rossville, and Irish families in Woodhaven.
I like this.
Many of whom came here with nothing but a dream of a better life, a dream which has withered away.
I'm a sucker for diversity speech. I won't lie. Diversity being such a core belief of mine, and one that has been tested and tried so many times in debates that it really does resonate with me when I hear stuff like this.
Young people in cramped Marble Hill apartments where the walls
Because they've probably had the same exact arguments I have with people, the same exact debates about how diversity, the idea that cultures are invading and stuff like that. And it's all bullshit, dude. And it's so easy to call people out on. So yeah, sorry.
When the subway passes,
Explaining why I'm such a sucker for that type of messaging.
Whose homes represent a physical testament to triumph over decades of lesser paid labor and redlining. They will be Palestinian New Yorkers in Bay Ridge.
Whoa, Palestine! Let's go! Palestine! Yeah, he said Palestine! Woo-hoo! Like, I'm sorry, but what is that movement even doing right now? Palestine isn't free. Like, I feel like I'm a bigger advocate for freeing Palestine than these people are. At least I can actually tell you why a free Palestine would benefit more than just the people there. And why it would actually benefit a lot of the Israelis as well. These people, they seem not to... I'm sorry. I know, that is just like such performative bullshit. What the fuck does being the mayor of New York have to do? I know. I'm
no
sorry.
longer have to contend with a politics that speaks of universalism and then makes them the exception. Few of these 8.5 million will fit into neat and easy boxes. Some will be voters from Hillside Avenue or Fordham Road who supported President Trump a year before they voted for me, tired of being failed by their party's establishment. The majority will not use the language that we often expect from those who wield influence. I welcome the change. For too long, those fluent in the good grammar of civility have deployed decorum to mask agendas of cruelty. Many of these people have been betrayed by the established order. But in our administration, their needs...
This guy's an idiot. Hopefully the bigger idiots that voted for him don't feel as many problems that he's going to bring. He's not going to bring a bunch of problems, dude. All he's going to bring is potentially free buses and cheaper groceries. That's it. You know. What fear-mongering are you doing today? Mamor. Shout out to the most Russian bot name I've ever seen in my life.
Needs will be met. Their hopes and dreams and interests will be reflected transparently in government. They will shape our future.
And hey, apparently you don't think that because your dude, Donald Trump, sat with him and called him a good dude and said he'd live in a city run by Zorhan. How do you feel about that, Mamor? Or did your MAGA programming not allow for that? I'm interested to hear your response. So we're waiting with bated breath right now. All right, I'll give you some time.
And if for too long these communities have existed as distinct from one another, we will draw this city closer together. We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. If our campaign demonstrated that the people of New York yearn for solidarity, then let this government foster it. Because no matter what you eat, how you pray, or where you come from, the words that most define us are the two we all share: New Yorkers. And it will be New Yorkers who reform a long broken property tax system. New Yorkers who will create a new Department of Community Safety that will tackle the mental health crisis and let the police focus on the job they signed up to do. New Yorkers who will...
I am very interested in this policy. You know, I always thought the defund the police shit was cringy because that's not what we mean. I like to frame it as, I want to help the police. The police are asked to do so much. They are. They are asked to do so many things. They're asked to deal with the mentally unwell. They're asked to deal with the homeless. They're asked to deal with all of these issues they really shouldn't, well, that they're just not prepared to deal with, that they're not trained to deal with. And so I think this is an amazing idea to have a section of the police force that is dedicated to helping people with mental health that doesn't use guns and body armor, but instead uses real proven science to help these people that are in a mental health crisis.
will take on the bad landlords who mistreat their tenants and free small business owners from the shackles of bloated bureaucracy. And I am proud to be one of those New Yorkers. When we won the primary last June, there were many who said these aspirations and those who held them had come out of nowhere. Yet one man's nowhere is another man's somewhere. This movement came out of 8.5 million somewheres. Taxi cab depots and Amazon warehouses, DSA meetings and curbside domino games. The powers that be had looked away from the
defund the police should be a reminder as why you don't make a slogan that needs an explanation. Exactly, dude. Because I have no issue with, like, police officers that are, like, you're just your local sheriff or the police officers in my community. They seem like pretty upstanding people. And so I think it's dangerous to use that because it also alienates the police. And I know that, like, the police have had a confrontational attitude in the past towards minorities and people who have traditionally been discriminated against. However, I think they learned from the Black Lives Matter protests. I think they did. You when you talk to police officers, they talk about how they have procedures now to ensure that things like that do not happen. And a lot of them are actually ashamed of what happened to all of those minorities that had been killed. Trayvon Martin is often one that you heard brought up a lot. George Floyd being the second one. But yeah, I mean, I think they learned. I think, you know, protests did do something to have these agencies sit down and say, we need to look at the way we're treating a lot of our population.
These places for quite some time if they'd known about them at all. So they dismissed them as nowhere.
And that doesn't mean there still isn't work to be done. Of course there is. But what that does mean is we shouldn't just immediately blame the police officers for certain situations.
Our city, where every corner of these 5 boroughs holds power. There is no nowhere, and there is no nowhere.
And I think body
there is
cams
only
have
New York,
helped with that
and there are
too.
only New Yorkers.
Floyd was more impactful because it was on camera. Yeah, very true. It's just in your face. But a lot of the more like local cops that I talk to, for some reason they bring up Trayvon Martin more. I don't know why, but it might just be like a local, that's when they decided to take things seriously.
It will be different. It will feel like the New York we love. No matter how long you have called this city home, that love has shaped your life. I know that it has shaped mine. This is the city where I set land speed records on my Razor scooter at the age of 12. Quickest 4 blocks of my life. The city where I ate powdered donuts at halftimes during AYSO soccer games and realized I probably was not going to be going pro. The city where I devoured 2 big slices at Coronet's Pizza, played cricket with my friends at Ferry Point Park,
Damn,
and
you're
took
just
the 1
making
train
me
to the
hungry,
BX10
bro.
only to still show up late to Bronx Nines.
He's making me very, I haven't eaten
The city where I have gone on hunger strike just outside
except
these
for
gates.
in the morning, so I am quite famished.
Sat claustrophobic on a stalled N train just after Atlantic Avenue and waited in quiet terror for my father to emerge from 26 Federal Plaza. The city where I took a beautiful woman named Rama to McCarran Park on our first date and swore a different oath to become an American citizen on Pearl Street. To live in New York, to love New York, is to know that we are the stewards of something without equal in our world. Where else can you hear the sound of the steel pan, savor the smell of sancocho, and pay $9 for coffee on the same block? Where else could a Muslim kid like me grow up eating bagels and lox every Sunday? That love will be our guide as we pursue our agenda. Here, where the language of the New Deal was born, we will return the vast resources of this city to the workers who call it home. Not only will we make it possible for every New Yorker to afford a life they love once again, we will overcome the isolation that too many feel and connect the people of this city to one another. The cost of childcare will no longer discourage young adults from starting a family, because we will deliver universal childcare for the many by taxing the wealthiest few.
This is interesting too, you know, maybe if they're able to use some of those funds to pay for people's childcare, that could be huge. A lot of people would be impacted by that. You know, with all these Somalian daycare fraud centers. Dude, that video is so insane. If you haven't watched me react to it, you gotta go back and watch that, dude. The video of Nick Shirley. I was quite proud at how I wrecked him.
Rent-stabilized homes will no longer dread the latest rent hike, because we will freeze the rent.
This is a policy I don't know about. I don't know if this is going to have good economic outcomes. Be great if it did. I just don't think it will. Actually, hold on.
Riding on a bus without worrying about a fare hike or whether you'll be able to get to your destination on time will no longer be deemed a small miracle because we will make those buses fast and free. These policies are not simply about the costs we make free, but the lives we fill with freedom. For too long in our city, freedom has belonged only to those who can afford to buy it. Our City Hall will change that. These promises carried our movement to City Hall, and they will carry us from the rallying cries of a campaign to the realities of a new era in politics. 2 Sundays ago, as snow softly fell, I spent 12 hours at the Museum of the Moving Image in Astoria, listening to New Yorkers from every borough as they told me about the city that is theirs. We discussed construction hours on the Van Wyck Expressway and EBT eligibility, affordable housing for artists and ICE raids. I spoke to a man named TJ who said that one day a few years ago, his heart broke as he realized that he would never get ahead here, no matter how hard he worked. I spoke to a Pakistani auntie named Samina, who told me that this movement had fostered something too rare, softness in people's hearts. As she said to me in Urdu, "Logo ke dil badal gaye hain." 142 New Yorkers out of 8.5 million. And yet, if anything united each person sitting across from me, it was the shared recognition that this moment demands a new politics and a new approach to power. We will deliver nothing less as we work each day to make this city belong to more of its people than it did the day before. Here is what I want you to expect from the administration that this morning moved into the building behind me. We will transform the culture of City Hall from one of no to one of how. We will answer to all New Yorkers, not to any billionaire or oligarch who thinks they can buy our democracy.
Amen. Hey, I
We will
like
govern
hearing
without
that.
shame and insecurity, making no apology for what we believe. I was elected as a democratic socialist, and I will govern as a democratic socialist. I will not abandon my principles for fear of being deemed radical. As the great senator from Vermont once said, what's radical is a system which gives so much to so few and denies so many people the basic necessities of life. We will strive each day to ensure that no New Yorker is priced out of any one of those basic necessities. And throughout it all, we will, in the words of Jason Terrence Phillips, better known as Jadakiss or Jay to the Moi.
Jadakiss. Who's talking about Jadakiss in 2025? 2026, I guess. It's 2026 now, ladies and gentlemen. No way that missed. I'm sorry. I'm not believing it. It's fake news.
Be outside. Because this is a government of New York, by New York, and for New York. Before I end, I want to ask all of you, if you are able, whether you are here today or anywhere watching, to stand with me. I ask you to stand with us now and every day that follows. City Hall will not be able to deliver on our own. And while we will encourage New Yorkers to demand more from those with the great privilege of serving them, we will encourage you to demand more of yourselves as well. The movement we began over a year ago did not end with our election. It will not end this afternoon. It lives on with every battle we will fight together. Every blizzard and flood we withstand together. Every moment of fiscal challenge we overcome with ambition, not austerity, together. Every way we pursue change in working people's interests rather than at their expense, together. No longer will we treat victory as an invitation to turn off the news. From today onwards, we will understand victory very simply. Something with the power to transform lives, and something that demands effort from each of us every single day. What we achieve together will reach across the 5 boroughs, and it will resonate far beyond. There are many who will be watching. They want to know if the left can govern. They want to know if the struggles that afflict them can be solved. They want to know if...
He's LARPing as a... Oh, geez. Here we go. I love getting the MAGA brain rot in here. He's LARPing as a socialist. It's a ploy by Muslims to have more Islamism. Many such cases, he doesn't even have the required power to make changes, as that's up to the governor and state government. So you realize that the state governor has made it clear that she's going to work with him. Also, the mayor does have more power than you're letting on there. He can change policy. He's not just a figurehead. To talk about your point of Islamism, you realize that Islamic fundamentalism and the ideas of socialism do not at all mix, right? He's not even a socialist. If you look at his policy agenda, it's much more liberal, social oriented. So you need to stop watching Fox News. If you want to get your Fox News, make sure to subscribe because we go over Fox News every week. We have a day where we feature him. Today is Benny Johnson. So hopefully you're a fan of Benny because we're about to see him on screen. But that's my recommendation right now, friend.
If it is right to hope again. So standing together with the wind of purpose at our backs, we will do something that New Yorkers do better than anyone else. We will set an example for the world. If what Sinatra said is true, let us prove that anyone can make it in New York and anywhere else too. Let us prove that when a city
Like that
belongs to the people,
Sinatra reference.
there is
That's
no
nice.
need too small to be met, no person too sick to be made healthy, no one too alone to feel like New York is their home. The work continues. The work endures. The work, my friends, has only just begun. Thank you.
Now, just imagine Donald Trump making that speech. I fucking hate the Democrats. Or no. Yeah, I fucking hate them. They suck. God, they're a bunch of shit stains on our democracy. Fuck, I hate the fucking Democrats. That's what you'd be hearing from Donald Trump right now. Oh, pieces of shit. I fucking hate them. Non-Americans. They're fake Americans. Fake Americans. As if there is anything such as a fake American. We're blowing these bitches up. They better not move. Hey, get excited. Dance. Let's do attack systems. All right, that was our homeboy in NYC. Anyways, Anthony Cook got absolutely cooked. That's why it's his last name. So, unfortunately, he's not gonna... Oh, no. They moved out of the way. No, damn you. Okay, well, that's all right. Because this dude's screwed after this. Anyways, guys, we've got a long repertoire of Benny Johnson. So what do we want to watch? Trump's epic NYE rant. Okay. Many Muslims have elected in the UK Left Party. Even a viral video. Okay, just because you realize there's separation of church and state. That goes both ways, buddy. Just because somebody's Christian doesn't mean I'm going to accuse them of being a Christian fundamentalist. Do you see how this works? Even a viral video of a Muslim saying they're become a leftist in the West because they are weak and easy to take advantage of whilst being an anti-LGBTQ. I'm sure that is not a fake clip that you fell for. I'm so sure of it. Who was it? What's their name? Who did that? Can you tell me, Anthony? Who was the politician that said that? Because it was a politician, I'm assuming. Otherwise, it doesn't fucking matter what they're saying. So if you could enlighten me on who the politician was that said they purposely infiltrated the West, I would love to know. Love to hear that. Until then, you can continue to chat. I don't really care. Anyways. Nick Shirley attacked... Let's see this. Okay, our boy Nick, professional child watcher Nick, he apparently was attacked, and this is not good. Now, if you guys don't know, there's this famous video, now famous, of this idiot known as Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley. It's a wise Muslim man that said it. Okay, so you don't even know who the fuck it was. It was just some fucking clip that could have been faked. 50-50 on Muslims that support Palestine? Bro, I don't even know what you're talking about. What the fuck would a Muslim supporting Palestine have to do with them infiltrating the West? That would be that's actually completely against your point. You realize that, right? If this were true, 100%, you know, if it were true that Muslims were trying to secretly take over, then wouldn't it be like 90%? Not all, no, brother, you're in a bubble. You're the one who is trying to enforce his ideas that Muslims are these evil people onto me. That's your thought. That's an original thought that came from your brain and whoever you watch. I don't live in a bubble. Look who I'm fucking watching right now, dude. Benny fucking Johnson. You're gonna sit here and tell me I'm in a fucking bubble. Meanwhile, I have more gonads to watch people that disagree with me than you do. And that's kind of sad. I have so much nads that I decided to make a stream where I deliberately watch these people and disprove their points. And you're going to sit here, oh, you're in a bubble. No, brother, I think that's you. I think that's you. And it's okay if you are. A large percentage of Americans are. But once you realize you're in that bubble, you're the one that's in the bubble. I hope that you decide to step out of it and decide not to stay in it for comfort. Like, I have met so many people who practice the Muslim faith that aren't even engaged in politics. They don't even give a fuck about politics. But you want to tell me that all of them are secretly in this cabal. Oh, I guess you said not all. Interesting.
Myself, Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest.
See, look, this is racism. This is what your side is supporting. Tell me this isn't racist, okay? Tell me this isn't racist, please, Anthony. Watch this video. Watch this little clip that he does and tell me it's not racist. I don't even have to pre-watch it. I already know it's going to be racist.
Allow me to introduce myself. Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest. The Kenosha Kickers. No? That's okay. I thought you might have recognized it. Anyways, I had a few hits a few years ago. That's why just polka, 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 polka. No?
So you see the joke, right? The joke is that that all Somalis are scammers and he's just trying to fix you. Just trying to tell you that he's basically insinuating all Somalians are these disgusting pirates, and it doesn't matter what voice that they use. They're all these disgusting scammers. Yeah, that's what he's putting out. That's what your dude is saying about a whole, like, this is your dude. He's part of your coalition.
Twin Lakes Polka, Damavuji Polka, a.k.a. Kiss Me Polka, Polka Twist.
Well, these are songs.
Didn't you laugh, by the way? Wasn't that so funny that you just can't, you can't believe you saw something this hilarious?
Yeah. What's up, guys? It's Benny, independent journalist Nick Shirley's video exposing...
Oh, I love this. Independent journalist. No, that motherfucker is an influencer, and I have never seen a title more fitting. That motherfucker didn't investigate shit. He went around and screamed at daycare centers and called it fraud. That's what he did. Fucking investigative journalist, my ass. I do more investigative journalism when I try to find out why the soap dispenser isn't working at my job. Give me a break.
Mass Somali fraud. It took him just a day on the ground to expose over $100 million worth of fraud in fake daycares. Is the single most viewed video on all of X. for the entire
Oh my
year.
god, that is so fucking astroturfed. You have no idea. Oh, on X? You mean the platform that Elon Musk personally uses to give himself an ego boost? Oh, I'm sure that thing is an astroturf to shit.
127 million views, 200,000.
Oh, X, you mean the website where you have to subscribe to Elon Musk. Interesting.
1,000 reposts, 626,000 likes, and 146,000 saves. This is a monster of a viral video and is already having some
look,
real
this
world
is sad.
effects. In
Ladies and
fact,
gentlemen,
the state of
look at all
Minnesota
those
is now
X
saying-
tabs. This motherfucker cannot be seeing that many fucking X tabs to make a video about. Oh my god. Some people, I go to the AP and PBS and places like NPR. Some people go to CNN and ABC. Some people go to Fox News. Benny Johnson goes to Twitter. That's the research Benny is given.
saying that they are doing site visits to every single Somali daycare that's getting money, and they're pausing the payments. The Department of Justice is saying they are also
But
investigating
again, I'm
the
the one in a bubble, ladies and gentlemen.
FBI, the Small Business Association, the Department of Labor. This has blown the door off, and it's going to
Blown,
be a very
it's wide open, ladies and gentlemen. Wide open.
very, very bad day.
Oh, another little piece of this propaganda that Nick filmed was he visited these places during the winter. You know, traditionally when school's fucking out.
Somali fraudsters. Obviously, people are now having the attention drawn to how the system worked. Yes, the parents would drop off their children, and then
Yes. All right, Benny's got the scoop. Let's hear it.
And get kickbacks. They collected their children immediately after signing them in. They would bill the state for a full day. This is, of course, exactly what happens when you bring in people from a country whose sole profession is piracy.
Oh my god, listen to this piece of shit. Benny, you just need to come the fuck out of the closet already and embrace who you truly are. Because this is disgusting for you to be saying this about fucking Americans. Shame on you, dude.
That's the only job available in Somalia.
The only job. No, it's not. You are such a piece of shit.
Bring pirates to your country.
Look at this. Look, he is specifically highlighting the features of this man's face. I wonder why that is. Anthony, you got any cope you might want to drop onto us?
You expect going to happen? And ladies and gentlemen, Somalia is also a very dangerous place. It is a place that is extremely unsafe, tribal warfare, extremely
this
low
dude
quality
knows
of life, low
nothing
life
about-
expectancy.
Knows nothing about Somalia. That's so funny. Of course he doesn't, though, right?
One of the murder capitals of the world.
By the way, for the president's son to have a fucking show called Triggered, what are we doing here?
And Nick Shirley is saying now that he has a bounty on his head from all the Somalis who had their spot
I'm
blown up.
sure he's got a bounty on his head and he's not lying about it. God, why does Nick look so old? Supposedly he's younger than me, but he's sporting a face that's going on to 50.
Up by Nick, and probably
Dude, fucking Benny looks younger than Nick.
set to lose hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stolen fraudulent revenue.
Dude, you are such a liar.
Told Don Jr. there's a bounty on his head. Here we go.
They're so mad.
He lied. That's great.
So the Somalians are so mad because can you imagine? For years, you're at the dinner table talking with your family about how everything's good.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up, Nick. Nick really is a piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry, this dude is a deliberate liar. He's a provocateur. He really is. He's this documentary or quote unquote investigation is just so, like, I think some of the people there have grounds for defamation.
Oh, we don't need to worry because the government.
And I think that's what they're gearing up
81% of these
for.
people are on welfare, but on top of that, they're collecting millions of dollars for these companies tax exempt, by the way, especially the daycares. So can you imagine how mad they are now? Like that's why
He
they're right now.
loves the daycares. He knows all about the daycares. I honestly do think the narrative that Nick Shirley's a creepy guy needs to go around because he's a creepy dude. He literally went to fucking daycares and harassed them. That's creepy behavior. And people need to look into Dave, by the way. Dave gives me the pedophile vibes at nauseum.
Now there's like people are so upset, like there's like bounties on me here in Minnesota because people are so upset as far as the fraud that's being exposed because they know their time's up and they know everyone's just sick and tired of it.
Hey, the Mega Husky, how are you doing today? I
What's
love
happening
huskies. I
inside there?
actually have my own husky, believe it or not. His name is Striker. He's a pretty cool doggo.
Their own state and across America.
What have some of those threats been?
Yeah, there was apparently like a bolo. that
Oh,
they-
yeah,
they used.
apparently. I'm not too sure, but that's what they were saying. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Gets me and the lib message out there. I'm very well, thank you. That's great to hear. But I do a show typically from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Today and tomorrow are a little different because I had some scheduling things with work. But I will be live tomorrow at 6 p.m. and then from then on it should be 10 a.m. But we'll see.
That's the word that some people told me was on me, and I can't reveal too much just because
I can't reveal too much. Yeah, because you're fucking lying. Huskies can be so dramatic. Oh, I know. Striker is the definition of dramatic. If I don't immediately, when I get home, drop my stuff and give him belly rubs, you'd think I'd committed murder.
I don't want to reveal, but like, yeah, lots of messages, death threats, obviously on social media, and then it's just not the most safe thing for me to be moving around.
I don't believe that
freely
he's
right
had
now.
death
I think that's
threats.
fair. I mean,
don't.
Nick has
I
every
mean,
reason.
yeah,
for-
maybe like what I don't get these death threats, right? Like what who's threatening your life? I'm sorry. What it just takes a loser, I feel. Sorry, just had to send a message to my plug.
Course to believe that as they were traveling through Minneapolis, Minnesota, there were Somalis following them in their vehicles. This is, of course, what happens when you're running a state-level criminal enterprise. Thank God he had proper security. I mean, he
They
just
are
had
indeed.
one.
I used to trek with mine. Oh, that's sweet. Well, I hope they're doing well. And any huskies you got right now, or just any doggies you have in general, I hope they're doing well.
Security guard. And thank God that security guard was there as angry Somalis now start storming Nick and attacking Nick in the streets. Look at this. Why don't you do this to white businesses? Third world.
I think that's a good question. Why isn't he doing this to white businesses? I mean, you know what happened? You know who the top of the Somali fraud, pandemic era fraud was? It was a white woman, dude. I don't think you should be targeting anybody based on their race. So why don't you do it more? Why didn't you do it to a white business as well, just to see if they were doing the same thing? Isn't that what a good experiment has? It has a, you know, working Huskies. I had 28 at one point. Whoa, that's crazy. Lucky you.
Pirates can really get dangerous and struck a nerve. That's right. Nick is, of course,
He's not going to show them getting attacked. He's just saying it. Dude, Nick Shirley did not get attacked. Most of these Somalians are very, they contribute to their society. They're small business owners. You actually, if you look at the data and look at what percentage of the percentage of Somalis that own businesses compared to the percentage of just born Americans, they actually own a higher number of businesses. So it seems like they really are interested in what the American dream has to offer. Why are we discriminating against them?
in and exposing.
And why are we calling into question their Americanness? That's not something we do here. That's not something we do. If you're an American citizen, you're an American citizen. Flat. I think, personally, I want to live in a society where someday we can just walk across the line and we have a whole process of getting you in here. But until that day comes, I will always stand that anybody born in America is American, and you should never be allowed to take that right away from them.
What was such a lucrative fraud that it actually was bigger than the GDP of Somalia, saying that potentially $19 billion in fraud. The GDP of Somalia is
Potentially. A lot of work potentially is doing there, isn't it? Because the pandemic era fraud hasn't even, the big number they put out, the real number is 9 billion, but we don't even know that yet. So this is just cope. And this is just trying to build a narrative.
So here, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play you a video of Nick
And this
Shirley
works really well for the Republican. Somalians set up fake businesses in Ireland. I don't know about, I'd have to read into that, but I don't know about that one. What I do know is that a large majority of Somalians in America contribute to their society.
getting attacked in the street, a man threatening his life.
But
and
this
saying,
this works perfectly with the narrative, right? The narrative that it's not these rich millionaires taking away from you. No, it's these poor communities, when that's so far from the truth. Look at the tax cuts in the big beautiful bill. Also, you know what? I think I'm going to show you guys some. Hold on. I'm bringing something in. Give me a minute, folks. Watchers of the stream will know what I'm bringing in here in a moment. They'll know. People who just joined may not, but this graph is going to blow some of y'all's mind. It's going to absolutely blow some of y'all's mind. Hold on. All right, screenshots. Got to go all the way down here. 12. What's the date? 12, or no, it'd be 1. Look at that chart right there. If you can't read it, here, I'll make it a little bigger. Campaign contributions by the 100 wealthiest America. The Democrats are the blue line, the Republicans are the red. I wonder which ones billionaires want to be in power. I wonder. Which one do you guys think it is? Do you think it's the Democrats, who they're not giving any money to? Or the Republicans, who they're giving a shit ton of money to? I wonder. Huh. Really got to rack my head with that one. Hold on, I got to switch headphones out real quick, gamers. I think I'm going to actually leave this up while I do that. Just to really sink in people's heads that this is what we're dealing with. The two parties are not equal. One is full of public servants that actually want to help you and advance the country and bring forth regulation that would move us in a positive direction. And one just wants to get paid by a bunch of billionaires. Anyways, I'm going to keep that on deck just in case I need to bring it up again.
saying that you need to leave my neighborhood. Not your neighborhood, not even your country, bro. This is how dangerous
Fuck
things
you,
have gotten.
yes it is. 95% of Somalians are American. They are naturalized Americans. So it is their country. And shame on you, Benny, for pretending you are less American than them. I'll say that. You're 1,000 times less American than those Somalians. Those Somalians are just everyday people living their life. You're a literal millionaire who I'm sure benefits from the new tax cuts in the big beautiful bill. So what the fuck are you talking about? You know, honestly, shame on Benny for shitting on these average American citizens. I thought this was what he was against.
Here we go.
How you doing, man?
I just want to ask you.
Yes, sir. Why are you sensationalizing the propaganda?
What are we
to-
sensationalizing?
To attack our community. What's your final objective?
We're
Are
not
you-
attacking your
are-
community by any means.
Are you?
What are you
making-
talking about? Dude, what a disingenuous cunt. I'm sorry, dude. This guy is a fraud.
From this.
We're looking for fraud.
No,
How the fuck are you looking for fraud? You're not a federal agent. You are some dipshit who somehow warped to the wrong reality, because you do not look human, dude. Your face has aged like 50 years. I don't know what's going on there, but you need to get that fixed, Nick.
For instance, can you answer our question? Where's Safari Transportation Company 607?
1 second.
It's not there.
How much money are?
Oh my God, I'm a moron. You know, it's really easy to think you won a debate by just calling someone stupid, but it's actually a lot harder to engage with the points that I'm making. And I understand that. That's why MAGA has done so well. They're selling you an easy lie rather than telling you the hard to deal with truth. And that's what I hope to push up against, you know? We have plenty of MAGA or ex-MAGA in my chat. We have plenty of people. 8 billion in fraud. Yeah, why don't you look at the total of pandemic era fraud across the nation, and you'll find that it is a lot more egregious than just $8 billion. And some of those programs were implemented by one of your favorite men, Donald Trump. So I fail to see how $8 billion in fraud. And that's the high estimates. We don't even know if that's the real number, by the way. You should go with 9 billion though, because it sounds a lot worse, and that's the highest estimate. 8 billion, I don't even know where you got 8 billion from.
Are you? How much money are you making?
Dreamline Security.
How much money are you making
I make
off
money
of
off
this?
of YouTube. That's how I make my money.
Exactly. So you're making money.
I make money off of YouTube. Most of those people are on welfare. Not true at all.
Off of sensationalizing.
That my job
and attacking
is-
the Somali community.
I'm not attacking you guys. We're asking.
I'll tell you the
Fraud
reason why
fraud,
this is
sir.
happening. All right. Let me
David,
tell you the reason why you're
fraud is
attacking
fraud,
this.
correct?
Yes.
This has nothing to do.
It is. Okay, where are you getting your data from to show that what was that? Most of, so you didn't give me a percentage, but a majority of the Somali community is on welfare. I'd like to see that. But even if they are, who cares? Isn't welfare supposed to help the people that are integrated, you know, that are... Hold on.
With race, this is fraud.
This is absolutely.
I can. All right, please give me the data set that shows that a majority, so we're talking more than like 60%. This is, you know, I do have a job, actually. Surprisingly, I'm streaming at a different time because of my job. So that's not an actual insult. And now, see, what's happening, my help us, is that you are spiraling. And you're quickly realizing that not everybody on the left is a vicious attack dog. And you're realizing that I'm reasonable.
Absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa. This is a constitutional argument. So you don't want us.
I think you are. Because if you didn't, you would have just skipped and said, ah, fuck this libtard. So you're finding some sort of value in what I'm saying. What are my pronouns? He and him, my friend. But I do kiss boys and girls. That might disgust you.
Here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen.
But you
don't
see,
want
like,
Muslims-
we both know that Donald Trump is failing on the economy. We can both say that. And he's failing on a lot of other things. And so he's requiring these astroturfed narratives like the one with Nick Shirley here. And you know that. You know that this is just a distraction to distract away from things like the Epstein files, from things like the economy not doing well, from things like the horrible jobs report. You know that. Bye. Well, hey, continue to be in your bubble, man. That's up to you. It takes a person with some real chutzpah to actually get out of their bubble. I had to do that. I was in a lefty bubble for a while. I had to climb out of that. And so you can do that too. I believe in
this country
might
anymore.
help us.
We're not saying
Just like I believe in every American. And that's the difference between me and MAGA. I believe that every American has the potential to do amazing things, to whereas MAGA thinks everybody has the potential to steal from you and steal and make America horrible. That's bullshit, and that's a lie that continues to give them power. That's all they want. They don't want to actually help Americans. They don't want to actually help the average person. All they're interested in doing is enriching themselves and making their lives better.
Because when I go onto your comments, when I go onto your comments, what I see is people that say we do not want Muslims here. Kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota.
That's a comment.
You are listen. You prepare.
That's a comment. Like, dude, that's your community, though. No responsibility. Nick is such a little petulant child. I have more responsibility for how my community of like 170 something reacts to a situation than this motherfucker does. How embarrassing.
You're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps, just like the Japanese community. All right, you're sensationalizing.
No, we're not.
All right,
Sir,
something that
answer
can
the
listen.
You are sensationalizing because you don't have any proof of the fraud other than you going to a daycare and yelling at people.
Something that can.
My helpus did not want to talk about this, by the way. He was not a fan of talking about the Nick Shirley video. He knew it.
Something that can jeopardize the safety and the protection of the Somali community. If anything happens to the Somali community, listen, I'm not doing anything. I'm not physically touching
You're getting very close.
I'm not physically touching
You're
him.
getting
No, I'm not
very
physically-
close. What a puss. I mean, Jesus. Bro, what a beta. What a beta. Looks like he's 50, by the way.
This is fraud.
What you're doing.
Oh, he's starting to get scared. Yeah, dude, this is what happens when you fucking film people and you put forth a narrative that isn't true.
What you're doing, when I go into your comments, people who hate Muslims, who want us out of here for being Muslim, are
You know, and the sad thing is this guy maybe thinks he can talk to Nick, but no, Nick is just a propagandist. He is literally just a machine at this point.
using your material. Islamophobe.
Oh, I'm gonna record this. God,
Use your material.
and look at this security guard who's such a little baby.
People who
Oh,
hate
you're getting too close to Nick. You're getting too close.
Use your material. Say to us, we don't want you here. Change
Bro, and this masked loser.
Constitution.
You need
But
to
guess
get
what? Let
back.
me tell you
You need to
something.
get
Guess what?
back. Fucking. By the way, fuck their stupid security guards. Nick advertised them in his video. They seem like a bunch of fucking losers. A bunch of LARPers. I'm not even. I should go. I should do a video about the security guards. Fucking losers. Do not buy their service if you need actual security.
We're asking about
You
fraud.
know, you are. What you do? You hate Muslims.
I'm not saying I hate
You
Muslims.
hate Muslims. You know you
I'm not saying I hate Muslims.
hate Muslims.
But-
why are you attacking us? Are we the only community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about
Are
fraud.
we the only community that does fraud? Are we the only community that does this?
This is about fraud.
All right, but
Okay, you've said that. Answer is fucking dude, they're
Guess what?
such
300 Somali
cowards.
providers in all-
You gotta call them out when they're doing this shit. Be like, you're being a fucking coward and not addressing my point. See, people a lot of this discourse nowadays is just trying to get a dub on the opponent and not actually engaging with their points. I saw this today very firsthand, and so a lot of times it's like to these people watching this, it seems like, oh, Nick is owning that guy, but fuck no, he's not engaging in anything he's saying. He's being a coward, hiding behind his security guards. A Jack Doherty. He's pulling a Jack Doherty right now. What a coward. Nick Shirley, I send this invitation out to you in earnest and full. I will box you anytime, any place. This is a official invitation to box Nick Shirley. I am putting this out here. You know, Clippers, clip this. I'll clip this myself. Nick Shirley, I am a 25. You are most likely taller than me. I am 5'9". I am a short king, okay? Probably more fit than me. I will box the shit out of you, dude. Let's do it. Let's set it up. That guy doesn't exist. Nick Shirley in the ring. I want to see it next year. And I will train. I promise you. I will train so hard, you guys won't even believe it. You'll be like, holy shit, that's a Greek god right there. But we got to get Nick Shirley in the ring, man. We got to get Nick Shirley in the ring.
All of Minnesota?
There's actually.
I'm not. Don't touch me.
Don't go close.
Dude, Nick is the one touching him.
English, right? Your security doesn't even speak English. Listen, let me tell you something.
See, this isn't a race issue,
Listen. Let me
this
say
is
something.
about fraud.
We have what? 1,000 providers?
Yeah, you guys have a.
Even it's 2,000 providers.
Okay,
you
sir.
want to sacrifice the safety of 80,000 people because of 2,000 providers? Are you mad?
Oh my god. What a pussy. This guy is just...
You're sensational.
I'm not stupid, you're stupid. Oh my god, what a fucking coward. Dude, we need to, you know, this guy's a coward. Nick is such a coward.
When a mass shooting happens in Minnesota, it will be because of you. It will be because of you.
Amen.
Any
fucking
Somali
man,
gets hurt in
dude.
Minnesota is because of Nick.
You're damn fucking right. When there's a fucking shooting at one of these daycare provider centers, that's because of you, Nick. You're damn fucking right.
If any Somali, if one single Somali,
I'm getting mad on this guy's part because he's just not engaging. He's such a coward. So like
sensationalize this. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
Yeah, for real. Get the fuck out of his neighborhood. Stop recording his shit. And Benny's showing this like this is a dub for Nick.
Get the fuck out of our neighborhood.
How diluted. You're damn right. We don't want you, Nick. No, not your people. You. We don't want you here.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You want to sensationalize? You want clicks? You got clicks. You want clicks? You got clicks. You want clicks? You want YouTube? You want YouTube clicks? You got YouTube clicks. Now get the fuck out of our community.
Yep, and unfortunately, he was fucking exactly right. This is exactly what Nick wanted. He's just gonna clip the part where he says, get the fuck out of my community, without even giving any of the context of this man was mad that he was, you know, he's not gonna give any of that context. So sick. But it's okay. We see their game now, and I'm totally okay with playing their stupid fucking game. I am. You know? You guys are going to see the new shorts that are going to come out about all of the Republicans that are giant pedophiles. And it doesn't matter at this point if they were just loosely affiliated with the Republican Party or just a registered Republican. And that's more grace than these fuckers will give you in any day. It's sick, dude. It's sick. Yeah, they want to play this game. Well, that's okay. I'm okay with playing it. I know a lot of other people who are okay with playing it too. If they want to play this clip game where we're going to clip each other out of context, okay, we can do that. We can do that, you know?
Get the fuck out of our community.
Tell me where the
You stupid racist motherfucker. Say I don't want Muslims here. Say I don't want Muslims here. Say it. Say I want to change the Constitution, and I want to change freedom of religion, and I don't want Muslim Somalis in Minnesota.
You know, I feel this guy's pain. I really do. Because I wish they would just say it. I wish they would just say it so people could see how disgusting these people are. God. So frustrating.
Kick them out. I was born in this country. You have to take the passport away from me. Relax. That is what you are arguing for. Change the Constitution. Get the fuck out of my community. Get the fuck. out of our community.
Damn right. This man's probably... Dude, Nick has probably been harassing them for hours just now. And this man came up and fucking told them what's what.
Get the out of our community.
For real, though. He should have gotten the fuck out of there a long time ago. He should be fucking wherever he fucking lives. The people of Minnesota do not want you there, dude.
That is an absolute...
And I guarantee you go up to some white dude, they'll say the same fucking thing about you, Nick.
The unhinged attack?
Unhinged attack. This is what Benny's calling a fucking attack. I have never seen a group of more fragile and vulnerable people than this. Look at this little soy boy. Look at him. Look into his fragile eyes. And you tell me that's a man? You're telling me that's a strong individual we need to be looking at for guidance? Fuck no. This man would fold if a napkin. He would fold like a napkin if somebody breathed on him wrong. Are we joking here? God, look at Nick, by the way. Why does he look so fucking old? He looks like he's... I'm not gonna lie, he might be on some fucking... That picture makes me think he looks like he's on some fucking drugs. You don't know shit about putting yourself in Ham's way, monkey. You literally are a silly goose. I'm just gonna say it. Now, you're not engaging with anything I'm saying. You're just calling me words, which is like, congratulations, you know? When I get mad at a piece of technology, I just call it a bunch of really mean words, and usually it just turns right back on. That's how I deal with issues.
Fantastic ambassador for the Muslim community. Suicidal empathy. Nobody has any more suicidal empathy. Prime example.
You can't even read? What are you talking about? Harm's way. Oh, I am reading on a TV, so I apologize. Trump is a man of focus, commitment, and sheer will something. Okay, so here's the thing. How can you say that when he's chickening out of his National Guard deployments? What are you talking about? Sheer will, my ass. Confidence, or commitment, my ass. What happened to the commitment of ending the Ukraine war? I mean, come on. Pretty embarrassing, right? That's holding people accountable. He's not holding anyone accountable. Do you really think he found fraud? Where's the investigation? If there was actual fraud, where the fuck is the investigation, ladies and gentlemen? The war is ended? No, it's not. The Ukraine war is still very hot, buddy. Oh, geez, I have no credibility. You don't know how to read. Well, then, why are you watching me? You know? I don't know. If you don't think I have any credibility, then you wouldn't be engaging with my points right now. So obviously you think I hold some sort of value.
Of why we don't want them here. Having watched this a few times, I can say this is the kind of low IQ nonsense.
But to be quite frank, I don't really care what you think about me, man. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, it's from John Wick. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. You got me there for a moment, Fred. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You got me there for a moment. I don't know. It was you with Nender Paul. What a weird name. It's just the combo got me. It got me for a moment. Oh my God. I don't care about what your father did. Here. My father used to work for the Department of Agriculture and Inspector General. He used to say the laziest people in the country work for the government. Okay, I don't care what your stupid father said. Your father probably had an IQ of 5, dude. I don't care what your father said. Let's look at stats and data. I know it's hard for you to read that type of stuff, but let's look at stats and data. And let's look at investigations, you know? If Nick wasn't an absolute liar, then there would be an investigation started immediately. But you know what happened? Pam Bondi, as dumb as she is, watched this video and realized it's a nothing burger. Thanks for the advice of not watching you. See ya. Peace out. You know?
Report from our country, arrest the man threatening him, turn the
Someday you'll fall out of your bubble. You know, maybe it'll be when Donald Trump finally kicks the can. But someday you'll fall out of your bubble and you'll realize that you are an ultimate cringe lord. Like, you literally were like, my father. I don't give two fucks about your father, dude. Who cares? We're in a debate right now. Your father is not some great source which wisdom poureth out of. Okay?
On that raise Bader and audit his ass. Chances are he's employed by the fraudsters. Somalian thug attacks Nick Shirley.
He didn't attack anybody.
The good guys are going to...
Honestly, I would fucking... If Nick Shirley uploaded that as an attack, I would sue his ass for defamation in a heartbeat. And that's what a lot of these Minnesotan Somalian community members are working on right now. Yeah, if you think that video just goes out without some of the business owners holding him accountable, you've got another thing coming.
Win trying to evade accountability by accusing somebody who's asking questions of being racist doesn't work anymore. That's literally how the scale...
Dude, he's literally just doing the I'm just asking questions meme, and he's not joking about it. Let's talk the truth. Trump only does what he is allowed to. Not true at all. Not true at all. Benny Johnson is scum, period. Thank you, Bob. I totally agree with you. This man is a scumbag. We just watched a video of him calling American citizens, these Somalians, scums that are only interested in piracy and their only job is piracy. That's not constructive, and it's just not true. Now, to talk the truth, Trump does not do only what he's allowed to do. He wasn't allowed to impose these tariffs that's still going around in the court. He wasn't allowed to deport people in the way that he is not allowed to deport people to countries in which they are not from. He's not allowed to deport American citizens, which he has been shown to consistently do. All of Islam is a scum? Well, that just goes to show you have not met anybody from the Muslim faith, which it's all about exposure. Trumpty Dumpty breaks rules like it's his job. It is how he thinks, like a sociopath. Well, he thinks like a criminal. He's a criminal, you know what I mean? He is an absolute criminal that tries to get around the law in any way he can. Like, look at this 400 million Qatari jet, which he says he's taking with him after he leaves office. How is that not corruption? Do I need, here, for all of you watching, I'm going to flash an image on screen. Do we need to remind you that this is the campaign contributions of the 100 wealthiest Americans, and it seems to drop right around 2021. It seems like they're all donating to Democrats. Why is that? Or they're all donating to Republicans. Why is that? You want to know why that is? It's because that's around the time they realize that they don't have to care about the American people. They can just care about sending money to the Republicans and everything will be okay. Well, that's bullshit. And the American people are just as valuable as your lauded Republicans. And I would say just a vibe shift if it wasn't completely one-sided. And if it wasn't completely obvious that the Republicans are just looking to, or the billionaires are just looking to fund the Republicans because they know they can get around. They're just interested in making money and not actually changing laws. Anyways, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, I'm about to get out of here actually because that's the end of the video. And I do have to get ready to go to sleep. I have work tomorrow at 10 a.m., so I'm going to split out of here. And remember, if you guys enjoyed the stream, Billionaires Democrat like Walton's got mad at the Democrats for nominating Kamala. No, it wasn't. This was before that. This was before the Kamala nomination. But and I'm not somebody who necessarily thinks that money can't be in politics. You know, I think it has its place, just like, you know, if you're successful, I believe that should be represented in our society. However, I don't believe in over-representation, which is what's happening. The last election? No, that was because billionaires realized that they could just send all the money to Republicans and Donald Trump, and they would capitulate to the billionaires. The Democrats don't do that. The Democrats are not going to abandon all their ideas just for some money. And this chart shows you that right here. This chart. That's right around the time they realized that they could just send money to Republicans and they would do whatever they ask. Anyways, I do have to get out of here, guys. I have sleepy times that I must attend to. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, gets me boosted out there in the algorithms. I typically do a show from every day from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Today's a little different. We're doing it because my schedule changed at work. So if that interests you at all, please remember to like and subscribe. I want to hit 200 subs before my birthday. That would be fun. So anyways, guys, I'm going to put the music on and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. I had a lot of fun with you guys today, though. This was enjoyable. I really liked it.